Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks so much for tuning to it. Appreciate you joining us on this Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com, ESPNTallahassee.com. Get it together, Jeff. You can say the words. Listen via streaming there. You can find us on YouTube as well. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you're well today. Same to you, Periscopers. You want to email us, you can, jcs at 979espnradio.com. Use that WTSM app for all your mobile devices. What a weekend. How busy are we these days? My goodness gracious. With the softball team whooping ass, moving on to the Super Regionals. They'll play Thursday. Tickets selling out in 9 minutes. Oklahoma State's going to come in here and get I was going to say a beating, but they're pretty good. So it might get interesting.
Well, I think Megan King got her bad start out of the way for the postseason.
Yeah. And closed it out.
Yes, she
2
did.
innings, that's nice. A little dicey, but...
Well, the strike zone was the worst damn thing I've ever seen. The knees are a part of the strike zone, and a softball is massive. So can we get better at that, please?
No.
That's the only way that game was going to be close, was if they were going to call a teacup for a strike zone.
But I will say, it works both ways, and the good news for us is this. We club the softball. So if you're going to give us the advantage of making the opposing pitcher throw it into a teacup, we hit home runs for days. And if I know where it's going to be, I'll take my chances that we'll outslug people.
I did think there was some inconsistency between the top and bottom half of the inning, though. I'm just going to say that was ridiculous.
Then they overcame that much more, my man.
Yes, they did.
So congratulations to the softball team taking care of business and now playing in the Super Regionals on Thursday against Oklahoma State. I don't want to downplay that, but I just assume that's what they would do, and that's what they do. It was fun to watch back-to-back-to-back-to-back home runs, and it almost turned into back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back home runs, which you don't see every day.
That's the Amansky +2.
That's right, and it was awesome, and it made me laugh because that poor pitcher, I was laughing like, ooh, there's another one. My goodness. I kept hearing our soundbite. Ooh, every time somebody took a swing, I'm like, there's another one. My goodness.
Oh. World needs plenty of bartenders.
Felt that way. As for the men's baseball team, they're terrible. They got hammered by Louisville in 2 of the 3 games. They did a little hammering of their own in the sandwich game, which is nice. And now they'll play on Tuesday against Wake Forest as the 6th seed. Wake is the 10 seed. And did we get swept by Wake or did we sweep Wake? I can't recall. I thought we were pretty.
We lost to BC.
We were pretty terrible against most of the teams we played.
I saw the Saturday Wake game, and we hammered them pretty good.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what happened there. I
believe we got the sweep. I'll go double check, but it was the BC series, which is the one that we were very embarrassed about.
Yeah, well, there were plenty of moments to be embarrassed during the course of this year. 3:00 is when that game will be played tomorrow, right when we get started.
2 or 3. Wake beat us 16-12 on the Sunday afternoon.
Crazy affair there. I knew there was something going on there. All right, and then we'll play again on Friday. You talk about spaced out. We take on NC State at 7:00 on Friday, and then Pool A winner takes on Pool D winner at 1:00 on Saturday. Pool B winner will take on Pool C winner at 5:00 that Saturday.
Hope you like Durham. You can just hang out there for several days and do nothing.
Yeah, if you're covering this thing when we play on Tuesday, good luck on Wednesday and Thursday and all day Friday before you hit the field. Okay. I'd look for museums of some sort. Go do
anything in the surrounding area. You could go check out anything within a 5-mile hour radius.
You've got plenty of time on your hands. Brooks Koepka has now won, and he's the first to do so, back-to-back U.S. Opens and back-to-back PGA Championships in consecutive years here. That is something that, in all the years of golf that we've watched and been absolutely, captivated by, whether it was Tiger Woods doing special things or even the Johnny-come-latelys that go on these runs the way that Rory did or Jordan Spieth did or any number of guys that have come through, caught fire, and you thought was the next great thing and then, saw it die down a little bit because golf's really hard and it's not reasonable to do that. Yesterday turned out to be fascinating for so many reasons, but let's just start with the fact that it is a very, very, very big deal what he did. And it's especially a big deal for Florida State. Obviously, personally for him, it means the world. He can write his ticket. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to be etched into the history of the game forevermore. And there's still so much more to do, and I think he will accomplish more because obviously he's a tough guy with supreme physical tools. Certain courses are always going to be really good for him too, and this one was. This was perfect for him and Dustin and maybe nobody else. Actually, I didn't like the championship. I'm glad he won it, but I didn't like it. I didn't think it played well. I don't think it was good for golf. But we can get into those talking points. I thought the fans were atrocious. Those talking points are for down the road.
They know how to pick a loser on Long Island.
Man, I'll tell you this. They also know how to just absolutely discard golf etiquette and give people an opportunity to play the game. Listen, it's always on the edge. I get it when you're in New York. It is. And there are some great things about that. They're extremely knowledgeable baseball fans, for example, and they'll let themselves be heard when they're happy or sad or angry or whatever it might be. They just don't do golf well. They've been habitual line steppers for a long time, and they were again yesterday. And I think where it crosses the line is several guys had people yell in the middle of their backswing. And, what are we doing here? But I'll get back to that. Brooks that round yesterday is fascinating. On the one hand, the conditions for those that went off late in the afternoon, much more brutal than for anybody else because the winds picked up to unreasonable levels, 30, 40 miles per hour at spots. And thus the scores skyrocketed. But there were a couple guys capable of getting it around at par or better yesterday, Dustin being one of them, and in doing so...
Jordan with the putting display of yesteryear when he won 3 majors, yes.
That's right. And so, in doing that, you knew those scores were out there, but you had to really be on your game. You had to be playing as well as you could really play. And not many people could. Either the length and the wind, the rough, all those things led to some astronomically poor scores for people who are the best in the world. And Brooks fell into a spot where, once he bogeyed a couple holes on the back nine, and Dustin, to his credit, is starting to put pressure on him. For the first time, we've seen a guy that's been rather impervious to these sorts of things, a guy that takes things with a grain of salt, good and bad. If he eagles, he doesn't really reveal much emotion about that, just takes it to the next tee box. If he bogeys, doesn't really reveal much emotion about that, just takes it to the next tee box. But yesterday, there's no doubt, I'll fast forward here, you get to 14, the tee shot on 14, and the look of, I'm in trouble here. For the first time, I've never seen it from him. It scared me. It reveals he's human. So we now know he's human. He can choke like all the great ones because all of them have at varying points because golf is freaking hard. But he is also a guy that has taken so much pride, and he should because it's an amazing ability, to be able to internalize and not reveal what he's thinking, good or bad, because opponents can't get a read off of him. And I think it's intimidating. I think it intimidates people he plays with. Poor Harold Varner III. Oh, my God, what a mess that was. But I think Tiger was this way in a lot of ways. He just was stoic, straight to the point, get out of my way, I'm playing golf, I've got a mission here, I'm not going to show you one way or the other. He's emotional when he made big shots, but he intimidated people. It's a great attribute to have, but it is striking when you suddenly lose the demeanor, when you suddenly, the facade is worn away. And I saw it and I thought, well, luckily we're running out of holes and the conditions aren't ripe for people to go out and shoot a 65. So even though Dustin was playing well.
No, Dustin's round may as well have been a 64 or 65.
Right.
Given how hard that course was.
Yeah. I mean, it signals to me a little bit of game on because on the one hand, it once again reveals just how good Brooks Koepka is and how tough Brooks Koepka is, and he may very well be better off for how that round played out than if he had just ran away with it. But I also think that round probably did wonders for Dustin Johnson, who probably began to question whether he had the toughness to compete with a Brooks Koepka, his dear friend. He answered yesterday. Now, it helped that he wasn't in the same group.
Right.
I'm sure it did. But he did answer.
I think he answered with his play overall this entire tournament, because if not for Brooks, then
4
it's a
rounds
runaway.
in the 60s,
right,
yeah.
it's a runaway for Dustin, and he's got to remind himself of that. But I think the problem is it's not perfect either. As good as that round was, there's the putt on 16.
Yeah.
And then what does that do? It leads to a miss on 17, and it leads to a bad tee shot on 18, and he makes a hell of a par on 18. But it's because he put it into a sea of people 40 yards left of the green. And that tells me his nerves weren't doing that well, not just on the tee ball on 18, but in his second shot, because he makes a birdie there. Who knows? I mean, that's still a very doable proposition.
Especially given Brooks's tee shot on 18. They were all falling to pieces late. There's no doubt.
Who was going to fall the slowest?
It was just hang on for dear life, and then Brooks was able to really, I was worried he wasn't going to be able to get a club on the ball from where his tee shot was. Once he got it out in the middle of the fairway, knowing that he could bogey that hole, you felt real good that he was going to capture another major title. And that's now 4 in the last 23 months. It is remarkable to think about. It's otherworldly. And so you have a certifiable superstar of the game. And I it's interesting, golf heads, diehards, they'll talk about what it means for the game. What does Brooks represent now? Where does he lie on the pantheon of the greatest golfers? And what does it mean moving forward for the other majors? But we here, as Florida State people, get to puff our chest out a little bit here because, listen, Trey Jones recruited him, coached him. They text and talk all the time. I know he doesn't mind me saying that. They've got a great relationship. I heard all kinds of crazy rumors over the weekend from people who don't know, so I'm going to throw it out there. Brooks has a great relationship with the university, with the golf program. He's given back both financially and of his time. Volunteered at the golf camp, by the way. You're a major winner. You're over here volunteering at the golf camp. My kids have attended that camp. The relationship between Brooks and Florida State is just fine. He's his own cat, though, and he is out here. He's not necessarily eminently likable. Admittedly, Tom, if he wasn't a Knoll, would we like him? I'm not entirely certain. We would admire his toughness, but I don't know that we would love him. He doesn't let you.
Right. Well, I think even if he wasn't, let's just say he's nothing. He was, an amateur right away, and maybe he was a community college player, something like that.
Right.
If you give me somebody like Brooks versus somebody like Justin Thomas or Jordan Spieth or Ricky Fowler, I'm taking Brooks all day. And I think that's independent of me being a Knoll. Now, the love for Brooks comes from being a Knoll. There's no doubt. But I appreciate the way he plays the game and the way he's accountable. He's very accountable. The question about the New York fans chanting DJ. Now, he said that changed things for him because it helped him build the chip again on his shoulder and say it's me against the world. But he said, I deserved it. I was choking it away. That's accountability. Instead of saying we need to be more positive out there. You know what, guys? I need more. And he might have been right to say that in that moment, but he says, you know what? I've been to sporting events in New York. I know what happens when you choke something away. Yeah. This is New York. Thank you. Thank you. No. That's refreshing.
Yeah, I think it is refreshing, too. I also thought it was refreshing that he at least had the wherewithal on Friday after posting a 65, backing up that 63 with more on the table play.
That round is something else.
But he says after that round, today was a struggle. And I know that may not sound, he goes, that may not be taken well that I sit here and say that after shooting a 65. That's progress. He's making progress because in the past, I think he didn't always realize how things are going to play. And words have an impact in how you say things. This shows me that he took the time to realize I'm about to tell everybody I didn't play all that well when I shot a 65. That's going to come across as arrogant to some people. But he was trying to be honest. He was trying to say, I didn't have total control of my game today. I had to really fight for that 65, which we should all appreciate because that's the kind of honesty we want.
Well, and I think this whole weekend's going to make him tougher and make him harder to beat when he is on, because you could even see it on Saturday. He said it himself that his game was slipping on Friday. That's why, as the tweet goes, I put this out there yesterday, that it was one of the guys from Golf Channel who was just happened to be around on Friday and said, we're going right to the range. I didn't play well. I'm not hitting the ball well.
Yeah.
He could feel his game slipping. On Saturday, you could see it. It was slipping a little bit. Yeah. And it big time slipped yesterday, and he still found a way.
Well, that's what'll happen when you throw up a 63 on your opening round
exactly.
on an incredibly difficult golf course.
You bought yourself, even the 65 on Friday. I was talking with Matthew. We were watching a little bit of it as he started. I said, man, I fully expect a 71 or a 72 today. It's just because that's the nature of golf.
Yeah.
So for him to fortify it with a 65 is insane, But you could tell he was working with his B- stuff, his B or B- stuff, and he just kind of found a way to navigate through that course under those conditions with those nerves that he's never felt before and still finish the job. Was he perfect? No, but does this make him tougher moving forward? Because he experienced something he's never experienced before yesterday, and he still found a way to win. That's why his emotions were, by his standards, crazy.
Yeah, by his standards, yeah. I will say this, though. I think, and I don't want to take anything from Brooks because it's awesome, and it's now 4 majors, and he is clearly the guy to bet on in any major moving forward. End of question. He's the guy. The USGA has to do a better job. There's been a consistent complaint for some time now that the courses are getting too long, that it basically nullifies the artistry of the golfer that we really loved of yesteryear, and being able to manipulate the golf ball and do guys that can really shape the golf ball, guys that can hang in tournaments, not because they're, incredibly long, but they're long enough. Those guys have been eliminated. They've been eliminated. If you couldn't hit it 330, you couldn't complete. Tiger couldn't compete on this course. He couldn't compete on this course. Now, he did a lot of things wrong, but he couldn't compete on this course. And I'm not saying it because of Tiger. Tiger's longer than a lot of people. If you're shorter than 300 whatever, you have no shot on that course. What are we doing?
Yeah, Spieth 71 yesterday is one of the great exercises because of all the putts he had to make. He hit 5 fairways on that course.
They need to do better.
He shot 71.
I don't think it's good for the game.
Well, Pebble is going to be different.
It's
because
anybody's ball game.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's about shot making, and it's also about the draw. The weather conditions are going to be quite interesting.
Yeah. I love that course because you can be in it and you don't have to hit it a country mile. Some courses, this seemed to me to be one of them where they were trying to say.
But I thought what was interesting, too, here is that this is a PGA run event, not a USGA, and we talked about it. How's the course going to be set up? Is it going to be set up like a U.S. Open, or is it going to be, they're going to dial it back and let some guys score around here? The weather didn't help them yesterday, no doubt.
Sure.
But the way they set it up was much more like a U.S. Open without burning out the greens and the fairways. But with 3.5 inches of rough by the weekend time, people didn't stand a chance. I mean, how many half hacks did you see yesterday?
It was nuts to watch people hit the golf ball in a way that we frequently see when we're playing on a weekend at Killarn. Just ball goes 17 yards from where they were. Okay. I'm all fine with rough being penal. I'm fine. You hit it in the fescue, screw you. I mean, that's the world, right? It happens at the British Open. You get offline there, you're in trouble if you end up in the fescue. But I have a problem when that is in play, along with the fact that you have to hit it 350 yards to have a chance to make a green in regulation. On too many holes, that's the case. And so that's why it produced Brooks and Dustin. Well, those were really the only 2 guys that could compete on the course.
And I know that you absolutely echo the sentiments of Ricky Fowler when he complains about the conditions. You've got to be on his side there. But that's where he lamented on Saturday before he started. This is before he blew up yesterday, which is, what he does. He said
everybody did yesterday.
He said it's soft. It's too soft out there. And that's with the rain from the early part of the week. We were talking about it. Are they going to shorten this thing? Are they going to move the tees up a little bit? Because if it's going to be wet out there, yes, the greens will receive more shots, but you can't get the run out on the drive.
Yeah.
So now, if you hit a 280 all carry, that's where it's going. You're getting like a half a yard worth of rollout.
And those guys that cannot carry 300 and those guys that can't bomb it out at 330, now it's just about how big and strong you are. Now it's just about how far, and nobody's bigger and stronger than Brooks Koepka. And so good for him. Took advantage of the situation. That's all you can do.
And he also played out of his mind on top of it the first 2 days.
Oh, absolutely. And he actually, he brought a course to its knees. For 3 days, he basically brought a course that is as difficult and long as they'll play on the PGA Tour to its knees. He's one of only about 3 or 4 guys that can do that. Rory can do that. By the way, Rory had a good round yesterday. Rory can do that. Brooks can certainly do it. Dustin Johnson can do that. Even long hitters like Tony Finau really struggled. His game.
Notice that Gary Woodland climbed back up towards the end.
It was nice that Gary Woodland played well like that. I like that. He had the round of the day yesterday, I think it was. Didn't he shoot 68, 67?
Yeah, 68 was.
Yeah, Gary was good.
68's as good as a 63 the way the conditions were yesterday.
Yeah. It wasn't all that enjoyable, save for the fact that I love Brooks Koepka and he won, and the Knowles have another one, so that's 4. It's a beautiful thing. Daniel Berger played well on Thursday. Did he go away? I didn't see what happened.
You really didn't?
I really didn't.
Oh, you're not trolling.
I'm not trolling.
Okay. No, he was 4 under going into Saturday, so he's one of the 3
He was one of the,
78-78 on the weekend.
That hurt your feelings.
He played like Dougal.
Segue into some football. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Affordable cigar lockers, a large covered patio, and private conference rooms, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Cigars of Tally, open 7 days a week. Need cigars? Get your ash in here.
It's bow time at Bojangles. Need a flavorful, convenient meal? Come in today for 8 pieces of Bojangles perfectly seasoned chicken for just $9.99 and get 4 free made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuits. Every piece of Bojangles flavorful bone-in chicken is fresh, never frozen, and hand-breaded not once, but twice. Hurry in today for 8 pieces of chicken for just $9.99 and get 4 free biscuits. Only available for a limited time. Bojangles, it's bow time.
O'Reilly. If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of the Do It Right rebate. Get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Hendrick.
It's the Hendrick Memorial Day sales event all month long at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Save big on over 200 new Buick and GMC cars, trucks, and SUVs. We are professional grade. Dale Jr. Buick GMC.com.
Just like football, when it comes to the court of law, you're going to need a solid defense. I'm Michael D. Blank, attorney with the Law Office of Jose Fernandez in Tallahassee. At the Law Office of Jose Fernandez, there is never an upfront fee, and if we don't recover, then you don't pay anything. Our team is dedicated to handling all types of accident, injury, negligence, malpractice, and wrongful death cases. If you're unable to come to us, we can come to you day or night. Call us now, 855-HOSE-305, for your free consultation today. The Law Office of Jose Fernandez. We don't get paid until you do. Offices, Tallahassee, Miami. JRFinjury.com. Go Noles.
Take me out to the ball game.
Indeed. And with weather like this, it's good to see you out on this magnificent, sizable deck.
It is quite impressive. You can see it all the way from the stadium.
What a deck. What a deck indeed.
I hear that a lot.
You know, I remember, what was it, mid-90s you opened up? Place was so small.
Now it's huge.
All I know is a lot of good times have been spent on this deck. Man, people enjoy it. They laugh, they sing, they drink, they eat, and they celebrate all the goodness of the Gordo's deck.
And you can come have a Gordo Smash.
Delicious. Sitting on the deck with a Gordo Smash. That's a good day at the office.
Or put a Cuban in your mouth.
And other food. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I was a guest yesterday on Sirius XM talking college football with Barrett Salih from CBS Sports, and he was talking to me about everybody wants to. We're like that friend, or maybe acquaintance is a better way of saying it, where we've made a name for ourselves in the industry, but some people love us, some people hate us, but we're on everybody's radar. Everybody certainly knows who we are. I'm talking about Florida State. So when you have the kind of season that Florida State had, what ends up happening on the interview circuit is that every time you're asked to be a guest, the first question, well, one of the first questions, yesterday's first question was about Brooks Koepka. Made sense. But right after Brooks Koepka came Florida State football, and they ask about it like you're an ailing relative or that person that they've been around their whole life. Whether they love you, hate you, they know of you, right? So the season that occurred leads them to say, how you doing? How's it going over there? Everything gonna be okay? That's how things get laid out in every interview I do. Everyone starts sort of with a compassionate, kind of a man hug, a little bro hug, everything going to be okay over there? I mean, these are tough times in Tallahassee. And they know that I'm talking to you guys every day. They know that I'm talking to the fan base every day. And they know that I've had my finger on the pulse of this fan base for over 2 decades. And so they're trying to get a feel for the purposes of their show, and you're talking to the country at that point, but also they know that, or at least they think, must be interesting to have to talk about this sorry team every single day. How are you breaking it for the people? How are you spoon-feeding them, if you will? It's almost insulting the way they lay it out there. And I want to go, no, we're grown-ups. We understand that it's highly unusual to not have a losing season dating back all the way till 1976. It's in fact, it's given us more of a chance, I think, to really gain perspective. Or it should, because if you want to have a fun, you want to engage in a fun exercise, go grab one of these football thesauruses, if you will, or encyclopedias, and grab like the ESPN one we have somewhere here in the studio that I brought in. It's got every year of college football up until about 4 years ago, because that's when the book came out, right? For every team, every season. And it shows you great details from every game. Go back to 1976 and then move forward from there. And go look at the prominent programs that we all associate as blue bloods with college football. Go look at Alabama every season from 1976 to now. Go look at whomever you want to look at. Southern Cal, Notre Dame, I don't care, Ohio State. And you'll notice rough patches. I mean, long stretches of rough patches. A lot of dominance. Obviously, the cachet is built up for a reason. They did a lot of winning, some more than others. But whether it's Michigan, Southern Cal, Alabama, you name it, you'll find stretches where you go, God, for the better part of 6 years here from name your year to name your year, 83 to 89, so-and-so really sucked, like didn't have a winning season, didn't make a bowl. So to me, what last year's losing season did, I think, and it should for everybody, is put into perspective how amazing the run was. Sucks that it's over, but that it was an incredible, unparalleled, frankly, run in college football. And so when they bring that question to me, the first thing I do is go, well, look, I mean, Florida State fans, for a good reason, and I don't say this to chide them, are extremely spoiled because they just don't have losing seasons in Tallahassee. Last year is such an anomaly, such a shocking turn of events that, I think everybody had to take a step back. But in retrospect, it's allowed everybody to kind of recalibrate and get ready for the next run, or what we hope is the next run. And that's kind of the way that question gets answered. It's just fascinating to me. And I think it's married to the fact that Clemson has been so dominant. And so it's this idea that, well, Florida State's down, but they're simultaneously down at a time that Clemson's never been better in their history. So you have this bully on the block at a time where you are really bad. First thing that happened when they tweeted out, talking ACC football next with Jeff Cameron, the first thing that popped up were commentators from, people on tweets responding to SiriusXM or Barrett Sallee or whatever. And the first 5 all read, so Clemson? That's like how that read. And that's the truth of the matter. There's no getting around that.
I think if you look at Clemson from 76 to now, I'll take a wild guess. There's a lot of terrible, terrible football in that period of time. The frustrating thing is that Clemson is cashing in a way we never did. They are peaking, and they are cashing in with championships quickly. And they're not done, it doesn't look like. Because if you have that quarterback for 2 more years, you've got at least, you could say, one really good chance once their defense gets up to speed by the 2021 season, or 2020 season, excuse me. And for us, when we had Jimbo and he took over, first-time head coach, all that stuff, we said, wow, what a crazy anomaly it is for a first-time head coach to win a national title in an era where you could count on one hand the amount of coaches that had national championships to their credit.
Still can.
And right. But it was always about Nick Saban. It was, Steve Spurrier was coaching, and he was one of the few. Bob Stoops. And here we are with a first-time head coach, and we said, wow, that's never been done before. The problem is that Dabo did it better. He's a first-time head coach. They had the patience to wait him out.
Yeah, it took some time.
And then he flipped it, and now he's cashing in at a rate that we never have. And so that's where, if you're a Florida State fan looking up at the Clemson program and saying, my God, over 45 years, essentially, you guys don't hold a candle to what we do.
That's true.
But you are cashing in at a rate, and it looks like you might continue to cash in at a rate that we never have before.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Some of that is obviously, first of all, you start with they've done a great job. So you can't begrudge them that. You can just acknowledge it.
But I think the tension is starting to finally grow a little bit. This has been a very passive rivalry, hasn't it? Until because, maybe now?
And I still think it's somewhat passive. We're growing frustrated by our inability to compete currently. It's a bit humiliating. It ought not be, is the way we look at it. But what's to dislike truly about Clemson's fan base? There isn't. I mean, everybody's got bad fans, and everybody's got good fans, and then there's a whole bunch in between. For the longest time, they were the only team in the damn conference that was like us, that cared like we cared, that had a stadium like ours, that tailgated and was passionate about football and didn't give a damn about basketball. You know, that program was the mini us, and they had been there longer, but we had already surpassed them and lapped them 3 times over. So we went, oh, Clemson's cute. At least they care, though. Their fans are cool. They'll tailgate with you. They're passionate. They got a good tradition there, and they hope to be us someday. Problem is, they got to us and passed us, and now they're double middle fingering, and we're not equipped right now to get there. And so we begin the larger conversation of navigating those waters. How do you get caught back up? I mean, how is it you're going to do that? Well, it starts with having a good season this year. You got to, to run, you got to walk, all that. We got to start walking. I mean, we were crawling last year. You got to start walking. And that's what this season's about. You don't do the thing, I don't think it's healthy, you don't do the thing where you say, well, are we going to be better than Clemson next year? No, we're not. Are we going to be better than Clemson 2 years from now? Probably not. Are we going to be better than Clemson 3 years from now? Perhaps. Don't do that. What are we now to get to there? Well, we better start winning some damn games.
And I think the fair thing to also point out, while I say they cash in at a better rate than we did, if there was a college football playoff in the 80s and 90s,
we would have.
I think we would have done much the same. But there wasn't. So
there wasn't, and we get screwed in that, and we also got screwed in 96. There should have never been a rematch. I mean, we can do this whole thing. Florida State had 6, 7 national titles. So some of it's dumb luck. Some of it's good fortune. Obviously, you got to put yourself in a position. And they put themselves in the position on the regular right now.
I think the problem, what I'm getting at is that I think we're a little bit more ornery about our situation because they're so good. If the entire ACC was bad, it would just be like 2006, 2007, 2008, that period of the lost decade. We're like, well, the whole ACC is terrible.
Yeah.
But you feel the weight of it a little bit more because they're good. And it's not necessarily about hatred of Clemson. They didn't really take anything from us. We've kind of passed each other in the night.
Two ships passing in the night big time.
13 was probably the outlier there. Maybe 14 for them. I'm sure they look at 14 and they're pissed about it because Deshaun Watson was a freak and they didn't start him here. And we barely beat them with Cole Stout starting that game. I don't think we win that game if it's Deshaun from the word go, but you never know. But the point is that really there hasn't been a Miami moment or a Florida moment where one takes something from the other. Yet it's starting to get to a point where I feel like I'm starting to get sick of Clemson now. All right, enough of Clemson.
The only way it can happen, the reason we hate Miami, and if you're of a certain age, you hate them more than Florida, is that there was always so much on the line. We talk about the lack of national titles. A big part of that is Miami. They stole national titles from us and won them themselves. That's why they got 5. So you grow to hate them because you know at any given time, your team, if not the best in the country, this is the second best, but didn't get a chance to play in a playoff. They lost that game to Miami. It was your season. It was over. You lost because they weren't going to go lose.
Yeah, they need to lose twice.
Yeah, it was over, and you knew it. You were at this is for a national title. This game today, I'm walking in this stadium to find out whether or not we win the national title. Now, in the 90s, it changed more because Florida rose under Spurrier, and so you had two such moments where you literally felt the nerves in the pit of your stomach, where you walked into the stadium and went, if we lose today, not only do we not play for a national title and we don't get to prove ourselves and we're denied another year, but those bastards may go play for one. So there's just that much on the line. We have really yet to play that game with Clemson. When we were dominant, they were not, and we beat that ass. And then suddenly we fell off a cliff, and they rose to the precipice, and then they beat our ass each time. And now, at no point have we walked into that stadium where we thought, we're everybody as good as you, and you believe you're everybody as good as us, and the winner of this game is likely going to play in the college football playoff bare minimum. I think these two teams are good enough to say correctly that if the winner of this game, if you win this game, you're probably playing for a national title. We haven't had that game.
Yeah, I think the closest would have been 14, but I mean, the wind is taken out of the sails because Sean McGuire is playing the entirety of that game.
Yeah.
And so from the word go, we are trying to overcome something completely separate, Clemson. Yeah. 13 for them. Now, we were on the field pregame. They felt like it was.
They thought they were on the verge of kicking down the door and announcing that they were the preeminent team in the ACC, but they didn't have Jameis Winston. And, you know, once that happened, I think that their heart sunk because it was the moment that we've had since. Looking at their quarterback currently must be the way they looked at Jameis that night and thought, oh, well, okay, what are we going to do now? We're not going to beat them next year. Now, we couldn't have known the weird things were going to happen in 14. But at that moment, they're walking out of that stadium on the wrong end of an ass-kicking in prime time with the nation laughing at them. And they're watching Jameis Winston do things that their quarterback couldn't dream of doing. And they're going, man, it's not our time. We're not anywhere close. They're a million miles ahead of us right now. I'd like to get to a point to where I could even feel like before kickoff, this is our time. Remember, we walked in together for the Florida game. Urban Meyer, we finally beat him.
Oh, one of my favorite games I've ever been to.
It's a great game. Well, the thing is, we knew it was our time. We knew, okay, we're beating that ass today. This is it. It's going to happen. The tide has shifted. They know it and we know it. Don't fool around and let this get ugly. It's an avalanche. We're going to put a beating on you. We're going to announce our presence with authority. This is a statement game. And then it happened. It happened. The problem is, we're not in a position to have a statement game. And so I think you got to set your goals a little bit smaller right now. It's not fun. Nobody likes that, but you got to walk before you can run.
I'm not focused on Clemson.
Yeah.
Because you're
I'm
right.
focused on
we
beating
gotta
Boise
walk.
State.
Right, yeah. We got to beat Syracuse at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to handle business against NC State. Louisville should be fine. But NC State, Syracuse, Boise, Virginia on the road. Let's achieve those goals. Miami, hey, you know what? Let's end that little mini streak.
Yeah, and both games should have been won by Florida State. By the way, this all culminates and coincides with, and we'll take a break here and come back and talk about it. But over the weekend, and I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about this because it came out on the 17th, Bill Conley wrote an article for SB Nation, and he does great work. If you don't read his stuff, you ought to. But he wrote an article, How Does Florida State Respond to Its First Losing Season? And it's funny because if you just look at the bullet points from that story, which I'll bring up next, it's kind of our talking points. It's been interesting. They do their projected S&P ranking, and they have us having a winning season, and I think it's fascinating.
Life would be much worse if, say, Miami was where Clemson is right now. I mean, I think we'd be feeling even worse about ourselves than we do in this moment. But I do think it's also fair to say that our fan base is growing Clemson weary. In a world where everybody is Alabama weary, I think us specifically, if there was one program outside of maybe South Carolina, the Gamecocks, across all the country that is tired of this Clemson development, it's us, because we had it and then we seeded it
slip it away
instantly. Yeah. Almost instantly.
It did happen overnight. It's crazy how it happened. We can trace the track record to the genesis of it. I think most of us who cover the team agree the genesis for the collapse was 14, and it was masked by the fact that they went undefeated.
I just think one of the craziest things in Florida State history is if you look at the calendar year of 2013, really didn't play a close game outside of the BC scare. And in the calendar year of 2014, outside of playing like FCS teams, everything was close.
Yeah.
Everything was ridiculous. Every second half that could have been close in the calendar year of 2014, from the BCS championship all the way through the ACC title.
It was the Not Tonight Haters meme for the rest of the season.
What a year. I think we all aged 5 years in 2014.
2014 was a tough year, and yet we went undefeated. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
As the person he alluded to when he mentioned he was tired of all the backstabbing and whispering that was going on behind his back when he stepped down. Johnson also said the other reason he resigned, he felt he no longer had power to make decisions. Blame for the Lakers' current issues can be placed on ownership, as well as the team's philosophy when it comes to luring free agents, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Saying we're the Lakers and we're the league's most historic franchise, that's not enough. That doesn't just get players there. It doesn't make things run well. And the Lakers have a problem. It begins with ownership by allowing this dynamic to unravel the way it did.
Woj reporting Nuggets president Tim Connolly turned down an offer to run the Wizards front office. And the Timberwolves finalizing a multi-year deal with interim coach Ryan Saunders to make him their next head coach. Warriors swingman Andre Iguodala questionable for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals tonight against the Trailblazers because of a calf injury. With a victory, Golden State completes the sweep and becomes the first team since the Celtics teams in the 60s to go to 5 straight NBA Finals. Coverage 8 Eastern ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 9 Eastern on ESPN TV. Raptors star Kawhi Leonard shrugged off an apparent leg injury sustained in the win over the Bucks in Game 3 of the East Finals. He dismissed any notion he'll miss any time. That Game 4 is tomorrow night. NFL, Redskins linebacker Reuben Foster carted off the field with a left leg injury during the team's first OTAs. Washington now awaits the results of an MRI on Foster's knee, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Hendrick. New way to buy. New roads to drive. That's what you'll find at the all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet, a proud member of the Hendrick Automotive Group. We've completely reinvented the car buying experience, making trusted, honest service our top priority and putting you first. We're ready to prove it to you. So come check out our fantastic selection today. Find new roads and your new Chevrolet right here on Tennessee Street or shop online at DaleJuniorChevy.com.
If your vehicle isn't stopping like it used to, visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and take advantage of the Do It Right rebate. Get a $20 O'Reilly gift card by mail when you buy a set of Brake Best Select pads and pair of rotors. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the window's down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
So I was referencing that article, and I laughed because they do the thing for people who are too lazy to read. They do this in a lot of articles now. Have you ever noticed that if you go to the various news sites, there'll be a headline, and you click on it, and then for those incapable of taking the 3 minutes to read the article, they have like key points or highlights off to the side.
It's like the takeaway.
Yeah. It's like, here, I wrote 17 paragraphs, but your sorry ass won't read them, so here's a nugget that basically we want you to take away from this, that taxes are increasing. Like, okay.
Well, it's because they can prove it once they track how far people read into articles, and you see the breakdown.
People aren't reading it.
Yeah. No, you can see how far they scroll. I mean, when they stop, when they click out, when they lose you. So they know that most people, they read the opening paragraph and they're like, good enough. All right, let's try the next one.
They ought to use it to shame people. Like, send them an email. We know you read the first 2 sentences of a 7-page article. A little deep for you? Couldn't catch up there? Couldn't follow the bouncing ball? Okay. We'll cater some stuff just for you, dumbass.
It'd be Stewie from Family Guy.
Yeah.
Saw you clicked off the article. Too many words? Too many compound words?
Wouldn't that be great?
Too many paragraphs?
I mean, I think about that, too, because I know they do. They can monitor. Yeah, that's
Does
good.
your head hurt now?
Yeah.
Why don't you go back and click on it and try it again?
Yeah. 5 key points from Bill Connolly's article. It sounds like the Jeff Cameron Show on a daily basis. 1, FSU learned a valuable lesson in 2018. A bad offensive line can wreck your plans, every single one of them. 2, after enduring the Noles' first losing season in more than 40 years, Taggart hopes controversial and effective offensive coordinator Kendall Briles is the key to a turnaround. 3, with quarterback James Blackman and a deep receiving core, Briles should find plenty to like about his new passing game. And, hey, the offensive line almost literally cannot be worse. 4, the defense was doomed by field position and bad turnover luck and could struggle with Briles' tempo, but with defensive tackle Marvin Wilson, linebacker Dontavius Jackson, and safety Jaden Lars-Woodby, there are stars at every level. 5, the schedule is loaded with toss-ups. If the Briles offense sticks, 9-3 or 10-2 is possible, but a 1-2 start and an anxiety-heavy fall are also on the table. Those are the 5 takeaway points for those too lazy to read the article. I thought it was important that he point out in the crux of the article that by the end of the year, injury and a total lack of development by the new staff or the old one had combined to create the least stable line I've ever seen, quote unquote. That is a fair assessment that is damning to both parties.
And Connolly is not big in a hyperbole.
No, it's fascinating. And just to reiterate how disastrous it all was a year ago, in 12 games, the Noles started 9 different combinations of offensive linemen. I'm not sure that I've ever seen that. They didn't start the same combination in back-to-back weeks until the 7th and 8th games of the season. Not sure I've ever seen that either. 9 different players started at least 2 games each, and only one, center Alec Eberle, started all 12. Yes, that is correct. We lived through that, friends.
You know, I had forgotten about the center.
Of course, he was a Warrior.
But you had to go there and remind me.
Yeah.
We'll see what the Bavion era is like.
Unfortunately for Alec Eberle, who is not a great player, he bears the brunt because of the irony of this is that Alec Eberle was a Warrior. Not a very good player, but a Warrior. He played through immense pain, did everything he could to be out there. He had one hip that was taller than the other because the leg had been sawed off. He had all these issues, right? They had to get him right so he could move.
Like Civil War bone saw.
Yeah, it's crazy what they did to that poor guy's body. When he's 50, canes, walking chair, he's going to have it all, right? All because he laid it on the line for Florida State because he cared deeply. And yet, he remains sort of the emblem of futility because he was out there. Who do you blame? The guy you see most frequently failing because he's out there all the time.
I believe that is why the public puts it on him, not me. He seemed to always want to find the camera for Showtime when we did the Showtime series.
Yeah.
And he couldn't help himself. Anytime he had a chance to say something ridiculously positive about this team,
he did.
He would hype it up.
But that's, that's your most scathing indictment?
I mean, do we not loathe Bud Thacker for
being a professional
begging
wrestler,
from the crowd, begging from the crowd every
third and two,
we're
not going to get a stop, Bud.
3rd and 27, it didn't matter. He'd say, "Come on, let's go.
We're not going to get a stop, Bud. Stop doing that." Yeah.
Same thing here on the offensive side. We're going to be unstoppable on offense. James Blackman, there's something special about this guy. He's different. He's a freak.
Jimbo said the same thing about James Blackman.
We probably scored 15 touchdowns in the scrimmage. I can't wait to see how many points all that stuff. And there's more. I'm sure I've forgotten at least 10 such instances that are like that.
He was guilty of being overly optimistic. He is a glass not half full guy. He is a glass three-quarters full at all times guy, no matter what.
And maybe it was the Showtime people that wanted him to be on the show more. Maybe that's what it was.
We do remember they engineered half the conversations anyhow.
Yes.
You guys are going to be playing pool, and then you talk to him about the...
Y'all are going to Metro Deli, and you're going to have a talk here. Yeah, there's going to be a random fan that walks up and says, "Oh, hi, can I have your autograph?"
Right.
That's actually my nephew. I needed to get him in. That was a promise I made to my brother.
Right.
So, he's going to wear a Knoll shirt.
The result was the worst Florida State offense in a generation. The Seminoles ranked 124th in offensive success rate, 97th in offense, S&P plus, their lowest standing since ending up 109th in 1975, also known as year one for Bobby Bowden. They finished 5-7, their worst record since 1976. There you go. It's all upwards and roses from here. You can't do worse than that. You could. Florida has multiple times. But I would just tell you, I think that we've seen the worst of it, Tom.
You could just look at it and say, how the hell did we win 5 games? Way to go, guys.
So part of that interview I did with Barrett Sallee was to point out that Florida State blew a 27-7 lead in the second half against Miami.
Yeah.
That by rights they should have gone to a bowl and kept the streak alive. Literally, if they just take a knee for the rest of the game, there's a good chance that they go to a bowl. And he kind of chuckled, and it's true. I mean, I've said it before. Now, who cares? So what? We would have gone to a bowl. It was still an sorry season. We still would have had a terrible offensive line. We still would have.
But we could have lied to ourselves a little bit better, right?
I suppose. I mean, it didn't really matter. I mean, we also could have lost several games that we won.
Oh, the Louisville game.
Yeah,
we did lose that game, and somehow, some way,
they were more futile than we were. They were more dysfunctional than we were. But I think it's funny. I mean, that's how every conversation now begins in any interview that I do. You guys all right? Is everything going to be?
If Adazio cared to go for it on.
Well, he cares. He cares too much. He can't just play the game. He starts overthinking it late and does dumb things and refuses to have a chutzpah in the moments where he needs to have it. I don't. And I like the man. And I'm glad that he chokes against us because he's had so many chances.
He's like my old roommate, Brian. Anytime he had – this is video games. Anytime he had a chance to win a game with a kick.
Screwed up.
He screwed it. It's the same thing. It's a 25-yarder down – 25 down the middle. Oh, no. And he misses that. You're holding the controller, man. We're not going through an earthquake. What's going on here?
Adazio is Harold Varner III. You like him. Everybody does.
Yep.
He's fun to talk to. Sometimes engineers quite a good season, really solid.
But he needs to be up multiple scores in order.
Yeah, he's going to put together, for the most part, you're going to be able to stay in the job, right? Win you 6-7 games. But you don't need Adazio in the big games, just like you don't need Harold on a Sunday.
I'd argue that he'd get you through 3 quarters, but he lost the 2013 Florida State-Boston College game in the first quarter.
Yeah. That was bizarre. And then he got blown out. That was fun. Irashafel, warchant.com, going to join us next. Let's talk about the transfer portal. It's a mess.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Hill Tap Room on Appalachia Parkway is Tallahassee's premier location to try out the best craft brews from the state of Florida. With 14 self-service taps activated by cutting-edge technology, you can try as little or as much as you like from their full menu. The 7th Hill is a proud home of international soccer, opening early for every Arsenal game. They're also open by request for your favorite club too. Just see Sharon behind the bar. Whether it's a happy hour deal, Sunday brunch with $3 mimosas and a food truck, or time to catch up with friends over a board game, darts, or shuffleboard, Tallahassee's premier spot to enjoy local and Florida craft brews is the 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, right underneath the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Hendrick. New way to buy, new roads to drive. The all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet has reinvented the car buying experience. So find new roads and your new Chevrolet today, or shop DaleJuniorChevy.com.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Another plot twist in the Lakers drama. There was no holding back from former team president Magic Johnson on First Take today when he addressed his sudden resignation on April 9th. Johnson identified GM Rob Pelinka as the person he alluded to when he mentioned he was tired of all the backstabbing and whispering that was going on behind his back when he stepped down. Johnson also said the other reason he resigned, he felt he no longer had power to make decisions. Blame for the Lakers' current issues can be placed on ownership, as well as the team's philosophy when it comes to luring free agents, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Saying we're the Lakers and we're the league's most historic franchise, that's not enough. That doesn't just get players there. It doesn't make things run well. And the Lakers have a problem. It begins with ownership by allowing this dynamic to unravel the way it did.
Woj reporting Nuggets president Tim Connolly turned down an offer to run the Wizards front office. And the Timberwolves finalizing a multi-year deal with interim coach Ryan Saunders to make him their next head coach. Warriors swingman Andre Iguodala questionable for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals tonight against the Trailblazers because of a calf injury. With a victory, Golden State completes the sweep and becomes the first team since the Celtics teams in the 60s to go to 5 straight NBA Finals. Coverage 8 Eastern ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 9 Eastern on ESPN TV. Raptors star Kawhi Leonard shrugged off an apparent leg injury sustained in the win over the Bucks in Game 3 of the East Finals. He dismissed any notion he'll miss any time. That Game 4 is tomorrow night. NFL, Redskins linebacker Reuben Foster carted off the field with a left leg injury during the team's first OTAs. Washington now awaits the results of an MRI on Foster's knee, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
to Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Thanks for joining us. Good Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you can go to listen live via the streaming. If you miss portions of the show, we'll let you get caught up. Of course, all 3 hours get posted upon the conclusion of the program every day, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. Email the program if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. On Twitter @JCameron Show, and of course, if you'd like to watch us on the YouTube, you can on the Periscope, all that good stuff. Use the WTSM app. We're wont to do this every Monday. We bring in our good buddy Irashfel, warchant.com, the website. And Ira, good day to you, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing really well. I enjoyed your story on the portal here. Tom, go ahead. You feel free. Thank you very much. The portal problems. I read that in conjunction with another story over the weekend. Several stories seem to be coming out about the portal and how it's not all that it's cracked up to be. Some players are finding out, rather tersely that you put your name in there, there's no guarantee that things are going to work out for you. You get stuck in that portal.
You can get stuck. And imagine how annoying that noise would be if you constantly had to hear that the whole time you're in the portal.
Yeah, that's just buzzing in your ear while you're stuck in the portal going, please, somebody select me.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And I think that, talking to some of the coaches last week at the ACC meetings over in Amelia Island, that was really the biggest takeaway I had was that they feel like a lot of these, student athletes didn't really understand what they were getting into when they put their name out there. And kind of, and no coach is going to say this on the record, but, you definitely get this sense that they feel like a lot of the players, that in high school, they're all everything. And probably since grade school, they've been all everything. Then they get recruited and they get treated like royalty. Then they get to college, and a lot of times they're just one of the guys. And then they kind of miss what it was like to be before. They miss what it was like being the guy that everybody wanted. They miss being desired. And so they figure, all right, I'll put my name in the transfer portal. The current school is going to come back to me and say, hey, we want you to stay. These other schools are going to come after me. And what a lot of these kids are finding out is, number one, the current school may not want you as bad as you think. Mm-hmm. And number two, now you're, people are going to look at you a little bit differently when you're in the transfer portal than they would have coming out of high school because, it didn't work out. It's like, if people go on job interviews, the worst thing you could do at a job interview is tell the interviewer how much you hated your last job and how everything was wrong with that job because they're going to look at you and say, well, maybe it's something to do with you. So I think all those kids in there look to be, to some degree, unless it's a Justin Fields or an otherworld type talent, they're, seen with a jaundiced eye. And so now you have to overcome that. And if you're not a guy that's produced, if you've been at Florida State for 2 or 3 years and haven't produced, people aren't just going to jump in the line to get you. So, it's a tough situation. I think with their, I actually thought at the ACC meetings they might come out and have some sort of stance like, hey, we want the NCAA to revisit it, maybe come up with tweak the system somewhat. They decided not to do that. I'm guessing they're thinking a lot less players are going to enter the portal next year. Now that everybody understands, hey, this isn't a sure thing that somebody's going to come get you, that maybe next year guys will be more selective. But right now, it's almost 800 guys from Power 5 conferences. It's well over 1,000 in college football in general. So maybe that gets cut to a fraction next year, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see.
It's remarkable, and this is what happens when you have a new system. There are unintended consequences, and I don't think players, the more I read and reading your story and talking to you, and then there have been a few others crop up lately, especially from coaches who are now willing to talk on the record. Some, Kirby Smart has, I know, and Willie said some things in the article that you wrote that interest people, and they're starting to take a closer look at this. I don't think kids realize that, oh, by the way, it's a two-way street. You can say, hey, I'm not all that happy with the way I'm being used here, or somebody surely would want me more than this school is revealing currently, so I'm going to put my name in that portal. Well, the school can come back and go, yeah, you know what, we're also going to take your scholarship. You better hope that you're as wanted as you think you are. I don't know what's going on there. Are you there? We'll have to call him back. That's odd, but we'll give it a go here. But let me finish explaining this real quick. You had better hope that somebody grabs you. Now, in the case of Xavier Peters, for example, he wanted to be closer to home. And it ends up being that he goes back to Kentucky, who he had originally committed to begin with. So it worked out for Xavier Peters. But there are kids who've put themselves out there and nobody's come calling, and the school has said, we're going to take your scholarship. We'll give it to somebody else. You don't want to be here? We don't want you here. And now you've just voluntarily given up the scholarship you had, your free education. It's gone. And nobody's picking you up, you're screwed.
Yeah. Good luck going to the workouts, too. Let's just say they keep you, but now you go back to workout. You got some repairing to do.
It's brutal. Is Ira there? We got him back? Ira, sorry, I was just giving an example where it worked out for Xavier Peters, as you noted in your article, because he originally committed to Kentucky, wanted to be closer to home to his son, and he goes back to Kentucky now. But a lot of these guys aren't getting picked up, as we were just talking about before the phone malfunction, and the schools themselves are saying, you know what? We don't want you either. And now they've thrown it all away because of the misperception that they were going to be scooped up by Alabama the second they put their name out there.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really, I mean it's tragic in some cases. You know, if you think about a guy who might be an average, you know, was a somewhat highly recruited prospect, signs in a bigger school, because I think the number the Athletic did a survey. I don't know if the numbers are entirely accurate. I'm sure they're probably ballpark. But of the 800 or so players from the Power Five who put their names in the portal, like 20% or less than 20% have actually gotten signed by new Power Five schools. A lot of them were going to much smaller schools, and some of them haven't gotten any offers. And so, yeah, if you think about a young man who thought he was going to go to the NFL and their family was going to be rich, now there's a chance he may not even have college paid for. And it's awful. And I think that, you know, from a coaching standpoint, you know, it's very, very much frowned upon for big schools to release players, and as we've seen now, to process players, as people like to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly over the last few years, as they've tried to do more to create more benefits for the student athletes and put kind of more eggs in their basket, because it always felt like such a one-way street. The coaches and the schools get so much, and the student athletes don't get that much. So all these are part of the efforts to improve the experience for the student athletes. And this is kind of ironic because in some ways it's going to end up hurting them. And, you know, you look at, you know, again, you know, some of the players that put their name in the portal for Florida State, Amir Rasul,
yep.
The running back, the tight end,
Nasir Upshur, yep.
Nasir Upshur.
Right.
Neither of those guys have announced new destinations. Now they may end up somewhere, but I don't think they're going to end up at a level of Florida State. And you know, and if it works out and they get to go somewhere else and it's a smaller school and they get to play, it could end up being fine. But you know, it's a big difference. And some of these players aren't going to end up winning anyway.
Yeah, like George Campbell, it worked out, right? He goes to Penn State almost immediately. So good for him, and you wish him well, and hopefully he stays healthy for once, and he has an opportunity to do something there for the year that he's there. But like you said, Nasir Upshur and Amir Rasul, they haven't been picked up yet, and there's no guarantee they will be. Now, they might, and we're rooting for them, but there's no guarantee. And I think it's fascinating. A lot of these coaches, they're not as forgiving, if you will, if you walk in and tell them, yeah, I'm interested in leaving. That's the death sentence. That's the death knell at that point. There are coaches who say, all right, well, it's your right to do so, but you're not coming back here. And you better damn well hope.
And really what happened, what happened at Florida State was a couple guys put their names in the portal at the end of last season, right after the season ended.
Landon Dickerson, for one of them. Yeah.
Landon Dickerson's one of them. And FSU, I think with at least a couple of them, try to get those guys to, hey, Xavier Peters, in fact, put his name in the portal before Christmas and then took it back out. FSU's coaches talked to him. They said, hey, why don't you give it some more time, think about it, see how the spring goes. And then in the spring, he ended up getting suspended from the team, and that might have been the end of it there. But, I think early on, Willie Taggart was trying to kind of massage some of that and keep those guys there. But then I think at some point he told everybody, look, if you put your name in there, we may not beg you to come back. And that's apparently what's happened, because when those guys, when Upshur and
Amir Rasul
put their names in early in the spring, I remember talking to somebody at FSU like a few days later, and they said, yeah, they're not going to workouts anymore. They're done.
They
and
all
I don't
stopped,
know if that was their decision. I almost got the impression that might have been Florida State's decision.
Yeah, that's what's fascinating, by the way. All of those guys immediately stopped working out at that moment that they put their name in the portal. And I don't know where the responsibility lies at this point. If I'm a coach of a program and you come to me and I explain to you the situation and you decide I'm putting my name in the portal, have a good one, man. I mean, unless you're otherworldly and like you said, a Justin Fields or something that I can't afford to lose, have a good day. You don't want to be here. I don't want you here, man. And especially in a place where you're trying to change the culture and get the locker room shifted back to where everybody is in lockstep and on the same page. If you got guys who, I'm not so sure this is the place for me, well, take it on down the road. It's certainly happening in some other places too.
And it seems untenable. Even if they come to you and say, Coach, I still want to practice hard. I still want to come to everything, but I want to put my name in the portal. I mean, again, how as a coach, how does that fly with the other 80 guys out there in workouts?
It doesn't work at all. I could see where you would immediately say, well, we're not going to let you work out. I mean, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's just like if you were at in a business, anybody's office, and somebody lets it be known, hey, I'm interviewing at such and such place down the street. That's not gonna fly. And I've heard of bosses letting people go for that. And again, it's a tough situation, but you can't publicly. I think that's part of the problem. When they originally did this, I think the NCAA and the schools thought that all of this would kind of stay under the table, that nobody would know what was happening, who was in the portal.
Mm-hmm.
I think players thought they could put their name in the portal.
They'd be anonymous.
Because only colleges are the only ones that can officially see it. But the problem is these college coaches all talk, and they talk to media, and they talk to recruiting writers, and they talk to just friends, and it all leaks out. I mean, some of these guys are in the portal, and it leaks out. Some of these guys, it's been reported they were in the portal, and they weren't even in the portal yet. So the NCAA and the schools have not been able to kind of corral this at all. It's been like herding cats. And again, I think the hope is maybe in year 2, a far less number of kids actually do it because now they realize what the repercussions are. And maybe it's only in extreme cases, but I have a feeling, if you've got kids that aren't playing, they're still going to put their name in there just out of frustration.
One last thing to ask you about. Obviously, we've touched on the baseball and the softball and Brooks Koepka already to start the day. So I'll ask you about another article you wrote on warchant.com, which is kind of the end of a saga, if you will. You look at DeAndre Francois. He's looking to walk on now at FAU, which is an interesting choice for that school and for him. The first thing that comes to mind, and we'll go over the quarterbacks together here in a second, but the first thing that comes to mind is, and I'm not going to sit here and just continue to disparage the kid, but I remember when he floated it out there that he was contemplating whether or not he was going to go pro or come back, and I went on the air and said, well, that's absurd because he's not a pro prospect, and so you can contemplate going, where are you going to go play Canada? You're not a pro prospect. And there were people who were like, you're crazy. DeAndre will get drafted. DeAndre's the Stop it. Well, am I wrong in assuming that if he's walking on at FAU, people weren't beating down his door? I mean, it seems pretty obvious, right? Nobody was asking DeAndre Francois to come play quarterback for him.
Yeah, no, I think that seems pretty clear. And very much similar to another, Florida State signee from a few years ago, Malik Henry, who walked on at Nevada. He came out of Last Chance U, sat out that last year, and the best he could come up with was walking out at Nevada. And I think about how many schools there are that play college football because, again, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm thinking if I'm DeAndre Francois and somebody offers me a scholarship to go to a 1AA school, FCS school, I might be more inclined to. There's a lot of really good FCS programs. So it may be possible he didn't really even get any offers at FCS schools, which is it's hard to believe because he does have talent at throwing the football. But when you combine his shortcomings in football, which he does have some, and then you add in the audio tape that's out there that seems to indicate he's hitting his girlfriend, and then he was investigated for drug use. I mean, there are just so many issues. Yeah, I mean, that's how you end up as a walk-on. FAU's not investing anything in DeAndre, and maybe he turns out and turns his life around and has a good season. Then it's great for for Lane Kiffin and FAU. But yeah, I mean, when you're walking on at a school like FAU, I mean, it's about the bottom of the barrel, especially again for a kid who was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, was the ACC Rookie of the Year 3 or 4 years ago. It's crazy, and it just shows what your decisions do, how they affect your life.
Should note real quick, it's also obvious to me that people really don't care what Lane Kiffin does at FAU and what FAU is. Their quarterback situation is the way that it is, and they could court him to walk on because their current starter is under a Title IX investigation for problems similar to what DeAndre Francois had. And they're like, yeah, let's go get DeAndre Francois. And nobody's saying anything. Like, there's not a national story about that.
Yeah, it's so much of that really depends on how much media covers you locally, because then that a lot of times spurs the headlines, which brings the national people down there. I mean, down in Boca Raton, do you think there's, with the cutbacks in the newspaper business?
Right.
I mean, other than like an FAU fan site, maybe, I mean, who's showing up at Lane Kiffin's practices to do any interviews or stories? I mean, again, DeAndre Johnson, former Florida State quarterback who ended up transferring to FAU, now has since transferred to Texas Southern, but he's a guy that was caught on videotape hitting a girl. He goes down to FAU, and Lane just welcomes him right in.
By the way, I guess real quick, and I've kept you longer than we normally do, but this isn't for all you people who get up in arms when we start bashing Jimbo. This is just more putting a ribbon on the Jimbo era. Here it is. This is it, right? Let's go through Fisher's FSU quarterback signees because now we're done. And it's fascinating. You did it for the article. Obviously, James Blackman started 12 games in 2017, started a game in 2018, is projected to be a starter this year. So I would say that's good production out of a kid that you recruited. Bailey Hockman transferred after redshirting. He's at NC State now. We'll see what he becomes. Obviously, he's not going to be anything for Florida State. You just mentioned Malik Henry left the program during his freshman year. There were all kinds of problems with that in regards to the stuff that maybe never came out. He was just a guy that really didn't get it and had some issues off the field. Walk on at Nevada. DeAndre Johnson, you just mentioned him with the video. He ends up at Texas Southern after being dismissed here at Florida State. And DeAndre Francois, 2-year starter. That is production. Sort of a tumultuous time, and he's now a walk-on at FAU. J.J. Cosentino, career backup, never panned out, basically quit playing football. 2013, John Franklin transferred after switching positions. Is he actually a DB for the Chicago Bears? Is that right?
Yeah, he's on their roster. Now, whether or not he actually ever plays, he is. They just signed him. He's on their roster.
Well, good luck to him. I never had a problem with John Franklin. Jameis Winston.
Good athlete.
Yep, real good athlete.
Throwing the football wasn't a strong suit.
No. Jameis Winston ended up being the number 1 pick, Heisman Trophy winner, national champion, one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the history of college football. Current starter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, has been to a Pro Bowl. That was a good signing. That was a really good signing. He really nailed it with Jameis Winston. Sean McGuire made 5 starts, was a good guy, worked hard, not terribly talented. He's a GA at Texas A&M for Jimbo Fisher. Jacob Coker did transfer to Alabama. He is out of football, but did win a national title. Clint Trickett in 2010 is now the tight end coach at FAU after transferring when Winston won the quarterback job and he went to West Virginia. So it's a litany of quarterbacks, most of whom did nothing at Florida State, one who did everything you could possibly do. There you go. That's what you got.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just, you can't say it was a total disaster because you got Jameis in there.
Yeah.
And, a couple of those guys went on to play other places and had the ability to play.
Coker, for example, and Trickett, yeah.
Yeah, it's just odd that you have so many that just did not pan out at all for one reason or another. And again, at a school like Florida State, and with a coach like Jimbo Fisher, who's known as supposed to be a quarterback guru. So it's kind of the end of the era. And maybe Blackman will turn out and have a really nice year or two. But other than that, I think 7 of the 11 end up transferring or being dismissed.
It's amazing. And when you look at the depth chart now, at least for now, you say, how does this happen? Because you look right down the road. We were talking last hour, Tom and I were, about Clemson, and you look at all the quarterbacks that want to play there and how many good ones they've had in a row. And again, I'm not trying to take cheap shots at anybody, but if I roll out James Blackman, Jordan Travis, Nolan McDonald, and a couple transfers, you'd be inclined to ask what the hell's going on at Florida State. Now, it maybe the riddle is solved with Sims when he comes in next year. But this certainly hasn't been a prolific run where quarterbacks are flocking to Florida State. Always appreciate it, brother. Be well.
Thanks, Jeff. Take care.
Take care. It's just weird. When you lay it out there like that, Tom, and just look at the quarterbacks, you go, nothing against those kids, but this is Florida State.
Yeah.
You ought to be worried that your backup quarterback is on the cusp of transferring because he lost out to the other 5-star in the quarterback battle.
Yeah, it's kind of it's akin to the offensive line in that sense.
Yeah.
You're like, man, how many years are we trying to work on projects? Or we have a lot of projects that we brought in here. A couple of star players. One, Henry, never had a chance. But DeAndre Johnson was Player of the Year in the state of Florida, Mr. Football here in the state of Florida. So there were some prospects there. I think the one thing about it, if you look at that list, you'd say to yourself, all right, well, none of them really did that much here at Florida State except for Jameis Winston, but they did do stuff elsewhere. And the jury's out on Bailey Hockman, for example, at NC State. We'll see what his career turns into. If Blackman has a good career here, then you combine that with Jameis, and I'd say you combine it with what Trickett did at West Virginia and Coker winning a title at Alabama. He made a couple of big throws in that title game as well. And he'd say, all right, Jimbo was above average, but the reputation was exceptional. And he started out so well with EJ and Jameis back-to-back. He wasn't a head coach when he brought EJ in, but that was one of the big signees when he was an assistant coach here.
Yeah. It's a fascinating legacy, and it continues to grow, that legacy. I mean, as guys move on and end up in their careers or wherever else they go, it's just fascinating.
Much like anything else in his tenure here at Florida State, the way it started was not the way it finished. It started with a bang, and it ended with a thud.
Without question. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
American flag, or visit DaleJuniorGMC.com. Not all vehicles will qualify for maximum discount. Must finance with GM Financial plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and dealer admin charge. See dealer for details.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Cigars of Tally is your one-stop shop for everything cigars. With 2 convenient locations, Cigars of Tally is here to serve you. The 1401 Market Street location is right off I-10 and great for travelers and after-work stops. The Midtown location, Cigars of Tally Lounge and Bar at 926 North Monroe Street, is great for those winding down from a long day. With the largest humidor in town, affordable cigar lockers, a large covered patio, and private conference rooms, there's something for everyone to enjoy. Cigars of Tally, open 7 days a week. Need cigars? Get your ash in here.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Widden Glass has been taking care of business since 1945. When you call Widden Glass, you're dealing with experienced, reliable professionals who offer only the best. Like Widden's top-of-the-line bath enclosures that provide style and luxury at an affordable price. Eye-catching storefronts are a specialty at Widden Glass. We'll help you design it and install it. Widden Glass, the first name in glass replacement. Call 222-5781.
In general, I'm a win-win guy.
When I have to spend hours searching for the right part, it's lose-lose. It's time lost for me and lost time for my crew. That's why I order from Grainger. With product experts that have the answers to my toughest questions, an easy-to-use website to help me find the right product quickly, I can rely on Grainger to make getting supplies for my business as simple and seamless as possible. When it comes to getting things done, it's a win-win when Grainger's got your back. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
You're listening to The Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'll watch the rain, it settled in, disappear for days again. Most of us were staying in, lazy like the sky. Letters flew across the wire, filtered through a million lies. The whole world smelled like burning tires the day John Henry died. We knew about that big machine.
Yeah, I've read, following up with Ira there, our thanks to Ira Chaffel, warchant.com. Michael, you write, if you haven't seen it yet, fellas, good to read from Andy. Yep, my cohort at SiriusXM, and of course writes for SI. Andy Staples wrote an article about the rebuild at Florida State entitled The Complex Reasons Why FSU Was Not an Overnight Fix. And it's a good read. And nice little publicity in there from my buddy Bud Elliott. Ingram also gets mentioned in that. That's cool. But, yeah, they kind of talk about, he documents stuff we know for the most part, but it's very specific to people around here who follow the university very closely and are aware of the many layers and complications of the transition from one coach to the next and where we sit. But again, I think it gets fascinating because in the midst of all of the or the litany of reasons that things are the way they are, nobody really cares all that much. It's good to know the backstory. It's good to know why. It's good to know how you arrive at a place. It's good so you can learn from the mistakes that are made and perhaps make the adjustments necessary to improve and not find yourself in that hole again. But you know, at the end of the day, it's about winning some games this year and how quickly you can, and you know, at this point, change the way you're viewed by recruits, most importantly. The fans have spoken already by the dearth of season ticket sales. And that's not going to change unless things on the field change, and I think everybody knows that. But, you know, it's fascinating because you still don't have, and maybe it doesn't change until Sims gets here. We were just talking about quarterbacks a moment ago, and you go down that list of players, and you're just thinking, how at a place like Florida State? But it's easy to ask that question. It's also easy to look at our counterparts there at the University of Florida and note, you know, it's been some time since they had an elite quarterback under center there too. It can happen. You can fall out of favor, and it doesn't take much to change your reputation. You know, it happens at other positions. It's just most notable at quarterback. If you're getting good quarterbacks, it's masking a lot of your other problems. If you can block even a little bit, which was not something we could do. And that leads me to the next, I guess, not necessarily topic, but reason that we haven't been able to. It's the chicken or the egg situation where obviously it's awfully tough to get kids to say yes to a place that frequently gets their quarterbacks ass hammered on the regular. I mean, I don't know. I'm a 50-50 guy coming out of high school. Maybe I want to go to Clemson. Maybe I want to go to Florida State. Maybe I want to go to Ohio State. Maybe I want to go to Penn State. Maybe I want to go to Michigan State. I don't know. Name your school. It may be a tiebreaker. Might be. So the two kind of go hand in hand, the winning games and the blocking. And then all of a sudden becoming more desirable for a destination of elite high school quarterbacks. But you remember, you think back, position clusters have this happen all the time. I mean, I remember laughing for a while there at Florida. I go, why can't they get receivers? I mean, it's the University of Florida. Why aren't they getting receivers? I remember I was talking to Chris Nee one time, and all these guys who do a really good job, and I think Chris does, of covering recruiting, following recruiting, and writing about that, and they go to these camps, and I said, why can't Florida get any receivers? They never have anybody. They'll get a guy here or there, but there's a lack of consistency at that. And he's like, well, once it turned south and they started to lose games and their offense hasn't been very good, all of a sudden you're talking about an entire generation of players, or at least kids that played 4 years in high school, that never saw Florida produce. And that's the thing. I'm 47. I get that it's cyclical. I get that it comes in waves. I get that, you're down sometimes, you're up sometimes you're middling. But, there's an entire history to reflect on. And by and large, schools in the state have been able to put together one great crop of skill position players after the other. But if you're, 17 years old and you're playing high school football and somebody hasn't been good at a position for 3 years, that's basically since you've been paying attention. Because you're not, paying attention to a damn thing in middle school. So, and certainly not elementary school. Not to that degree. So you're just in the lurch. And I get that too. But yeah, it's a good piece from Andy there. And I think too that he's always had a desire to kind of deep dive and want to know why things are wrong. He'll call and ask anybody that he knows that covers this team closely why things are the way they are. And fresh off those meetings over in Jacksonville, in Amelia Island for the ACC. It's interesting what's gone on there, and I'm glad that they have those meetings because those guys tend to be more relaxed, I think, over there and reveal a little bit more of what's going on and where their head is at. At least even it provides context because they'll do it off the record. They don't want to be officially quoted, but they'll talk a little bit. And oh, by the way, speaking of which, we were just talking about our head coach and the one that's previous, but Dabo Swinney is really rich. That's a 10-year, $93 million contract for Mr. Swinney, and he made waves when commenting about not just that 10-year deal, which averages over $9 million a season, and he surpasses, obviously, Jimbo Fisher in that realm, and he is justly rewarded, I suppose. But the deal included an Alabama buyout clause. Swinney's buyout would be 50% higher should he leave specifically to become the next head coach of Alabama. And, of course, he's a former player there. And the thought being that when Nick Saban decides to leave, that's where Dabo Swinney will want to go. Here's the thing with that. I get, and this is what he had to say about that. That came from the school and their proposal, and I didn't have a problem with it. This contract was all about a mutual commitment to one another, Clemson and myself. And so I didn't have any issues with it at all. Just honored to be able to coach here. It's been a great decade, and hopefully we can have another decade, maybe another decade after that. He also talked about if college football becomes more like professional football and athletes begin to get paid, then maybe he'll just go coach in the NFL. And that raised some eyebrows, especially for a guy that's making over $9 million a year. Yeah, that's a little tone deaf. Sounds a little silly. All right, gotcha. But going back to the specific Alabama clause, yeah, I can see why the school would do that, but I also know that Alabama has an endless amount of cash in essence, and if they wanted him, they would easily pay that buyout. It really wouldn't be an object, of contention. If he wanted to leave, he'd leave. I just don't know if you're him that, A, you'd want to do that because you've created your own legacy now at Clemson. That is something that is uniquely yours. And B, nobody wants to follow a legend the likes of Nick Saban. You can't. The man has 6 national titles. Good luck living up to that. I know they're not all at Alabama, but he's got the one at LSU. But Jesus, I mean, you're not going to be able to live up to that. One wouldn't think. I get the appeal, the draw there, given that it's your alma mater. But paid handsomely situation where the community there at Clemson loves you, which means, in short, Alabama's going nowhere. Nick Saban's not retiring anytime soon. If the guy didn't retire after his 4th or his 5th title, he's not retiring anytime soon. And B, it means that Dabo's going to be at Clemson for a long time, and they've got it rolling, and they obviously that fan base is all in, as they say, and that means that it's up to us to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and get it right, get back to being competitive, get back to being at a place where obviously we rise back into contention with Clemson. It ain't going to be this year. It's I think that you reset it, you do all that when Sims comes in. We see how the offensive improvements happened this year, and you get a chance to, once they get rid of their otherworldly quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, then, so I guess it's 2 years. Now we start. There's the bar. There we go. Get it to where we can compete big time in 2 years. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Magic Johnson on First Take today when he addressed his sudden resignation on April 9th. Johnson identified GM Rob Pelinka as the person he alluded to when he mentioned he was tired of all the backstabbing and whispering that was going on behind his back when he stepped down. Johnson also said the other reason he resigned, he felt he no longer had power to make decisions. Blame for the Lakers' current issues can be placed on ownership as well as the team's philosophy when it comes to luring free agents, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Saying we're the Lakers and we're the league's most historic franchise, that's not enough. That doesn't just get players there. It doesn't make things run well. And the Lakers have a problem. It begins with ownership by allowing this dynamic to unravel the way it did.
Woj reporting Nuggets president Tim Connolly turned down an offer to run the Wizards front office. And the Timberwolves finalizing a multi-year deal with interim coach Ryan Saunders to make him their next head coach. Warriors swingman Andre Iguodala questionable for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals tonight against the Trailblazers because of a calf injury. With a victory, Golden State completes the sweep and becomes the first team since the Celtics teams in the 60s to go to 5 straight NBA Finals. Coverage 8 Eastern ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 9 Eastern on ESPN TV. Raptors star Kawhi Leonard shrugged off an apparent leg injury sustained in the win over the Bucks in Game 3 of the East Finals. He dismissed any notion he'll miss any time. That Game 4 is tomorrow night. NFL, Redskins linebacker Reuben Foster carted off the field with a left leg injury during the team's first OTAs. Washington now awaits the results of an MRI on Foster's knee, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter.
We're back with a state champion. That's right, a state champion head coach. His name is Titus Nixon. He is the basketball coach at St. John Paul II Catholic High School. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing great, Tom.
So I've got 2 questions, and the first one I'm going to ask you about is the state championship. What made this year, this team so special?
If I had to use one word, I would say resiliency. We preached that word from the first day of practice, that no matter what happens, we as a group need to stick together and we need to form a brotherhood that is so tight that nothing can break us. And our group was talented, but I think what made them so special is that they were resilient when things got hard. Instead of severing and breaking apart, they instead came together even stronger. And then also selfless, that this group put the team above themselves in a way that I have hardly ever seen in sports, whether it be on the high school, college, or pro level. And I think that's what made this year's 2019 state champions at JP2 so special.
It sounds like even though you built a culture, a championship culture at that, at JP2, it doesn't just come from the basketball program itself.
JP2 is a wonderful family environment. It is a school that prides itself in helping students develop and form in mind, body, and spirit. It truly is a family atmosphere.
For more information about athletics, academics, student life, visit sjpiichs.org for St. John Paul II Catholic High School.
Shot side, rebound, score!
The playoffs are here. The Corner Pocket is your home all spring long for all the heart-pounding moments in the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's held in a shot, safe, rebound,
The Corner Pocket on Appalachian Parkway next to Earth Fair is your headquarters for FSU and Major League Baseball. Trivia Tuesdays, Beer Bingo Thursdays, and of course, all the moments you'll never forget.
for the championship!
The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Target Drive Up is the world's fastest Target run. It's like having a Target drive-thru. You order and we bring your order right out to your car door. Just choose Drive Up in the Target app, and when you're ready, drive up and we'll bring your order right out. Down to the final diaper? Drive up. All cleaned out of cleaning supplies? Drive up. Gotta get snacks on the way to the big game? Drive up. Just order what you need and we'll have it ready whenever you are. It's easy and free with no minimum order. Drive up and then drive off. Target run and done.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
There ain't no heating and air conditioning, keeping you comfortable is what Barry does best.
Now you can quickly and easily schedule an appointment or pay your bill from your mobile device. This spring, turn to the experts at Carrier. Learn more about great rebates and 0% financing for up to 60 months. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
There ain't no heating and air conditioning.
Hardee's used to think bowls were useless dishware. Then we created the new loaded hash round bowl. Crispy potatoes, fluffy eggs, sausage gravy, melted cheddar, and crumbled bacon. Now part of our 2 for $4 mix and match deal. No longer are bowls just college football games you can nap to. Now they're loaded with Hardee's delicious breakfast favorites and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Hardee's because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
These days my friends don't seem to know me without my suitcase in my hand.
Jake Cameron Show, just because it's May. If Francois isn't carried off the field in Atlanta, are we sitting around talking about the season Fields is about to have in Garnet and Gold? I don't know. I don't know how close that got. I don't know. It felt like it, but we were wishful thinking in terms of Fields the whole time. Well, I don't know that at the end he could have ever committed to this offensive line.
If he isn't carried off the field, so you're still conceding the Alabama loss at that point, because when he got hurt, the game was all but lost. So it's about NC State. It's about Miami.
Yeah, it's about having a better season. That you probably would have won those games if.
Wouldn't Jimbo's departure still be like minus 220? Regardless if DeAndre was there or not, because A&M was going to give him more money and the facility he wanted.
Well, I know this is a weird take, but my thought has always been Jimbo did not leave over money. He's not motivated. It's strange. I tell people this all the time because he has a huge contract, obviously, but he's more about what the money represents. And so it's not money for him necessarily. I don't think that would have been a lure. I don't think it would have been like, oh, well, they're offering me $7 million.
No, that's not what I meant. I meant infrastructure dollars.
Yeah, and he hated Andy Miller. Yeah, this at some point he hated somebody he had to work with. I mean, some of it was completely irrational. A lot of his distrust of any number of people, he became paranoid. Is irrational. So to answer the question that was asked of me, Ryan, I would say that I think we were starting to be dysfunctional, and I think that kind of dysfunction would have led to a lot of elite recruits, including Justin Fields, going, I'm not feeling so good about what's going on at Florida State, and we weren't going to have a good season anyhow.
I don't know that we were going to be picking up the phone any more than we did. I mean, that's
right.
not a sure thing.
No, it's not. It's the what ifs and whom we could, who is it we could have had if we had just gotten this guy. Think about this offensive line. Again, what would we have done with him? We would have wasted him. I mean, we've got to get fundamentally better at the line of scrimmage across the board. Take that step this year. Welcome in Sims. See how quickly he becomes what I think is potentially a star player. We're doing a good job, though, right now of recruiting. We're moving, I think, at least when you look at the off-the-field developments in the offseason, coaching changes, recruiting. Those are the things you're looking at, right? Those have all been positive. Those have all been positive moves. So that's all you can do right now. You can't affect all that other stuff. Are you going to get a greater collection of five-star players? You will if you win games.
Well, and guess what? When the season's over, we can add another coach.
Right.
Yeah. Welcome on down. We have a full staff now.
Yeah, but when the season's over, I would guess if things play out the way, certainly the head man needs them to currently.
I'm talking about David Kelly for those who.
Yeah. I know you are. Yeah. But so that situation only gets better with wins. We become a little bit more secure, a little bit better positioned to compete in the state and also within the conference. And it's not an overnight fix, unfortunately, but certainly you can be a stark contrast to what you were a year ago. You can look orderly, as Andy Staples does point out in the aforementioned article, that Florida State, despite winning one more game than Nebraska's Scott Frost in his first year, seemed like they were far worse off than the Cornhuskers did by season's end, and that's because Nebraska looked like they were on the uptick. Florida State still couldn't get lined up in the final week of the
Nebraska challenged Ohio State. Who did we challenge that was better than us?
Well, we beat BC, and they were better than we were.
Were they Ohio State better than we were?
No.
I mean, we went up to Syracuse and really laid the wood there that first drive, and then DJ dropped the ball.
Oh, man.
And we never recovered.
No, I it's hard when you got to take baby steps.
I think that was the longest phone call of the year in game was Syracuse halftime, because I think that's when everybody was going, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot to unpack.
Well, it was the first, it was weird because in the Virginia Tech game, if you score or challenge the call and find out that you did get in the end zone, which we think he did, and maybe the crowd wills that victory. As it turns out, Virginia Tech wasn't that great a football team. They were trying to let us hang around for the entirety of that game. If you could have done anything.
Oh, if Cam scores, we've got a real shot. And that's late.
Right. But he got knocked down. So, because his ankle was destroyed on the first play of the game. On a run in which somebody was in our backfield 4 yards deep in less than a second. That was the number one indicator. Ooh. going to be a problem. He's doing a flip. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he gets – anyhow. So
that's kind of like a Ryan Howard injury, because it's like, here's your best guy, first play of the year. If we had just known, we didn't at the time. Well, it's like, there it is. He's forever changed for his sophomore season.
And he was, because his ankle was hurt on that play, and he didn't get right the rest of the year. And he played through it, but he was not the same player, as we know.
Indecisive, didn't know what he was looking at.
Awfully tired of getting hit right after he got the ball. Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things affecting his play a year ago.
It's like Ray Allen's free throw percentage if that happened to him.
You're like, my God. So, anyhow, had we won that game, or even just been in it really late, I don't know what our mentality would have been in subsequent games, but I do know this. I know that the Syracuse game confirmed our worst fears about the Virginia Tech game, was that we were not real sure of what we were doing. We were a hodgepodge. The offense wasn't going to be lethal nor simplistic. Nothing was going to work.
Special teams was indeed
still a problem.
The Groundhog saw his shadow.
Yes, there were all these things that, man, this is confirming my worst fears. That's what Syracuse was as it unfolded. That's why it's funny. The various articles of the offseason so far have been about all the changes that have taken place, all the things that we have to hope stick. And, oh, by the way, usually in every one of those pieces, there's some sort of caveat, and you might want to win the Boise State game. Because when you're obviously headed the wrong direction and you're trying to stem the tide, you don't need to see a little bit of the same, even a glimpse of the same from the season before, which is what a loss to them would be.
That's an oh, hell no. From the crowd, from the players, from the coaches.
We're going to stop this right now. We're being ridiculous. Let's move on. Final hour. Let's get into Brooks Koepka and everything else. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Of America, we purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120, on sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Thursdays are Friday Eve, and that's a reason to celebrate. No matter what you're looking for, they've got you covered every Thursday down in College Town. Centrale offers 50% off select pizzas all day, every Thursday. Or you can stop by Township for Taco Thursday. $2 house tacos, $2. Madison Social offers the Social Agreement. You and a buddy can split one order of wings, 2 Madso burgers, 2 bourbons, 2 proof Madison Socials, all for just $40. See what they did there? And don't worry about parking. Plenty of spaces available in the parking deck or surrounding lots. Check out all the Thursday College Town deals right now on ThursdaysInCollegetown.com.
In general, I'm a win-win guy. When I have to spend hours searching for the right part, it's lose-lose. It's time lost for me and lost time for my crew. That's why I order from Grainger. With product experts that have the answers to my toughest questions, an easy-to-use website to help me find the right product quickly, I can rely on Grainger to make getting supplies for my business as simple and seamless as possible. When it comes to getting things done, it's a win-win when Grainger's got your back. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The Jeff Cameron Show podcast, available on demand at ESPNTallahassee.com and on iTunes today. The Jeff Cameron Show podcast is brought to you by Garnet and Gold of Tallahassee. When you buy FSU apparel, support local business. GarnetandGold.com.
Hey, this is Jeff Doxey, representing Premier Fine Homes. I'm proud to announce Premier's newest community, Brookside Village. Brookside has the great schools you want, some larger home sites, and is conveniently located on Ox Bottom Road between Ox Bottom Manor and Moore Pond. Call or text me today at 545-4747 or email me at jeffdoxey1@gmail.com. Remember, before you buy, try me at Brookside.
Hendrick.
New way to buy, new roads to drive. The all-new Dale Earnhardt Jr. Chevrolet has reinvented the car buying experience. So find new roads and your new Chevrolet today or shop DaleJuniorChevy.com.
We're back with a state champion. That's right, a state champion head coach. His name is Titus Nixon. He is the basketball coach at St. John Paul II Catholic High School. Coach, how long have you been involved with athletics at JP2?
So I've been involved for 8 years as a coach. I was an assistant, and then 2 years as the girls basketball coach. And then I just completed my 5th year as the boys basketball coach. I also spent my junior and senior years as a student at JP2 in the early years of the school's beginning.
What does it say, though, about the culture of an institution that you graduate from there almost 15 years ago, but here you are still spending your time back at that school?
I think it says a lot. The fact that my wife didn't graduate from JP2, but we both felt drawn back to help in some way. And we weren't even living in Tallahassee, and we always had this thought of, man, it would be so neat if I could go back and help in some way. And when I was named the coach 5 years ago, it was very special, and people thought I was crazy when I said in 5 years we're going to win a state championship. Maybe even I thought I was a little crazy, and it was just so cool to see the program develop over these last 5 years. And we've seen that in many of the sports at JP2. We have so many committed coaches, so many committed teachers that really lay it all on the line day in and day out to try to provide a great atmosphere and a lifelong positive experience for these students in their high school years.
Coach, thanks for your time. For more information about athletics, academics, student life, visit sjpiichs.org for St. John Paul II Catholic High School.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi, developing story. Another plot twist in the Lakers drama. There was no holding back from former team president Magic Johnson on First Take today when he addressed his sudden resignation on April 9th. Johnson identified GM Rob Pelinka as the person he alluded to when he mentioned he was tired of all the backstabbing and whispering that was going on behind his back when he stepped down. Johnson also said the other reason he resigned, he felt he no longer had power to make decisions. Blame for the Lakers' current issues can be placed on ownership, as well as the team's philosophy when it comes to luring free agents, according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski.
Saying we're the Lakers and we're the league's most historic franchise, that's not enough. That doesn't just get players there. It doesn't make things run well. And the Lakers have a problem. It begins with ownership by allowing this dynamic to unravel the way it did.
Woj reporting Nuggets president Tim Connolly turned down an offer to run the Wizards front office. And the Timberwolves finalizing a multi-year deal with interim coach Ryan Saunders to make him their next head coach. Warriors swingman Andre Iguodala questionable for Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals tonight against the Trailblazers because of a calf injury. With a victory, Golden State completes the sweep and becomes the first team since the Celtics teams in the 60s to go to 5 straight NBA Finals. Coverage 8 Eastern ESPN Radio and the ESPN app, 9 Eastern on ESPN TV. Raptors star Kawhi Leonard shrugged off an apparent leg injury sustained in the win over the Bucks in Game 3 of the East Finals. He dismissed any notion he'll miss any time. That Game 4 is tomorrow night. NFL, Redskins linebacker Reuben Foster parted off the field with a left leg injury during the team's first OTAs. Washington now awaits the results of an MRI on Foster's knee, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
The Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning in to it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. Sometimes you do. It's all right if you do. We get you caught up. All 3 hours posted upon the conclusion of the show, both to iTunes and in our own audio vault. All right. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you got off of work just now and said, damn it, I'm putting on the Jeff Cameron Show. I gotta relax. Got to find out and talk a little bit about the Noles as the softball team continues to dominate. They'll play this Thursday against Oklahoma State. All right, Super Regionals, here we go. Brooks Koepka, Florida State Golf's own Brooks Koepka, yet another major notched. Boom! That's number 4 in a very brief period of time. The whole Brooks Koepka story is a fascinating one, partly because he did not do it in a customary fashion. Going over to Europe in the manner that he did is not the path that most take to superstardom. And to be sure, he is a superstar in the world of golf. He has the looks to be a superstar and cross really many realms. I don't know that he wants to do that per se. Certainly a lot of money will be thrown his way. It already has via Nike and other golf out, obviously golf club manufacturers and others. But when you're this kind of successful and you, to some degree, are a bit polarizing, it can be a real good thing for you from an advertising standpoint. So the world is his oyster now, as he is the game's best player. He moves into the number 1 spot in the world with the win. He's now the first player in the history of golf to win back-to-back U.S. Opens and PGA Championships, and it's amazing to think about that nobody's ever done that before. Now, there have been the elite of the elite that have won 4 major championships in 7 starts or 8 starts. That has happened. Tiger Woods did it, for example, most recently. But it is incredible.
Yes. He gets a little bit lucky here, obviously, because they move up the PGA ahead of the U.S. Open.
Had it for less than a year.
But, let's just say he wins at Pebble again or something, which would you put it past him at this point? No, because however you want to lay it out, he can win it. Is he more suited? Does he have to battle fewer people at a situation like Bethpage Black? You talked about this in the opening hour. Yeah, there are fewer people to beat for Brooks Koepka at Bethpage, no doubt.
Oh, probably that venue more than any other created a situation. This is not to take away from his win. He took advantage of the situation, as you should do, as golfers want to do. Tiger won on a lot of the same courses over and over again. They suited him.
Tony Finau had a really good opportunity to win this past weekend.
And he was nowhere near it.
Right.
So I'm not discrediting him, but the truth is, and as I said, I'm not a big fan of that course and the way this played out. I'm really excited about the result. It wasn't an enjoyable tournament to watch for me for the reasons that you just alluded to. There were about maybe 15 people that could win this tournament, maybe. Sheer length had an awful lot to do with who could compete and who couldn't. And if you couldn't carry 290, 300 in the air because it was landing so softly, you really couldn't compete in the tournament. It was such a long course, the way they let it play, the way they set it up. But Brooks can. Dustin Johnson can. It's not an accident those two finished 1-2. It makes perfect sense. But you saw that course really bring golfers to their knees, including Tiger Woods, who was not competitive in any way. I wonder, there was a whisper, and we'll get back to Brooks here, but there was a whisper that basically the reason he didn't play the week before or the week before that, and this came straight from Augusta to this tournament to play in a major of this magnitude in a course that's this difficult, it was thought to be a mistake, but there were thoughts that he needed to rest his back. And some people brought that up during the broadcast. That made me nervous. I thought we'd lived in a world, or we had moved into one where maybe we were beyond that.
Well, I think some of the insiders who obviously it's a small beat, man, that works the PGA for something that represents so many dollars, right?
Yeah, it's a small group, right?
A lot of people said that one of the number one things this week for him will be his back because of the temperatures. And it's going to be that way again in Pebble because Pebble can be, no matter what time of year, downright chilly if you're playing in the morning or late in the evening because of the fog situation and not letting the sun get through that time of year. So when you read that some of the guys that have been following Tiger from the very beginning of these problems all the way to now when he's climbed back to the top of the mountain, they say, well, it's not over just yet. These temperatures in the 50s, sometimes in the higher 40s, Tiger's going to have to be concerned about that. That has to give you pause. It's like when Buster Olney says that there's a PED problem in the MLB 3 years ago. It's like when Jack Nicklaus says that I'm worried about Tiger fighting for his life.
Right.
These people tend to have
information,
good information that they're working with and giving you kind of a hint. Yeah.
Well, yesterday got froggy, man. Our boy Brooks began the day 12 under, 7-shot lead. It was going to be a coronation more than anything else. Obviously making 4 straight bogeys on a back 9, saw that thing shrink down to 1, and it looked for a fleeting second there like he may let it all slip away. Now, I say let it all slip away. Some of it was his own doing. He began to develop a 2-way miss. That's never good. But the conditions were absolutely hostile, just brutal. Picking up for the afternoon groups in a way that they didn't in the earlier part of the day. So you had 30, 35, 40 miles per hour in some cases. Wind that complicated the situation some. That, and let's give credit where credit's due. Dustin Johnson, who hasn't been great on Sundays, put together a whale of a round and made a charge and put himself in a position to put real pressure on Brooks Koepka. But in the end, Brooks is the first player in history to hold multiple majors in back-to-back years with consecutive wins, as I said, at the PGA Championship and the U.S. Open. So good for him. It's a celebration. If you're a Knoll, obviously, you take great pride in that. My good friend Trey Jones, head coach there at Florida State, I'm so happy for him. I know it's a great reflection on the work that he does and his assistants do and the golf program in general. They've put together a lot of pros that have gone on to do very good things, but none greater than Brooks Koepka, who now is emerging as arguably the greatest Seminole professionally of them all. I mean, we're starting to get to a place, obviously Deion Sanders is in the Hall of Fame, but Brooks is going to the Hall of Fame. He now has 4 majors. It will take a little bit more time for Brooks to enter into that realm where you would begin to discuss who is the greatest professionally Seminole of all time, but he is now entering into the conversation, and he has done so in startling fashion. I think for the PGA Tour and for fans, it seemed like it came out of nowhere, and that's because Brooks got started in the realm of superstardom pretty late. 28, 29 years old before you began to think of him as a world-class top 5 player. That's not usually the case. A lot of times these kids come out these days charging out the gates, 22, 23, 24 years old.
When you hear his story of how he got from the end of his time here at Florida State all the way to the PGA Tour, and you understand the soul-searching that went on when he was on the European Challenge Tour, and how he was wondering whether or not he wanted to play golf anymore.
Wasn't even sure he was going to.
Right. And you realize that the toughness he has as a golfer, that he carries himself with, is completely forged. That's not who he was in his DNA. He was more emotional here at Florida State. Coach Trey talks about that all the time.
You had to teach him other ways of doing things, yes.
Right.
Now he's measured.
Now he's as measured as anybody in the game, and yet yesterday you saw him for a moment considering the magnitude of what was happening. And my worry in that moment was, God, is he going to make bogey all the way through the end of this round? Because he talked about it in the post-match in the press conference. He said, I was on the bogey train. It seems like it's connective tissue that you got to fight through at some point. And once he finally does, I think that it's the drive on 15 that changes everything and allows for him.
The drive on 15 is amazing, by the way.
You can see the exhale in him, too. But this persona of his is fully...
It's
not his DNA. It is forged from his past experiences. What today or yesterday is going to do for him is forge an even tougher guy, an even more impenetrable type person.
We think so.
When the pressure comes back next time.
I agree with you, and I'm never going to question his toughness. He's proven it time and again. But I wonder, because it also was the first time we saw real vulnerability there from a guy who has had, at least on the outer surface, as steely and unflinching as one could be. And I saw the look on 14, which is why the drive on 15 is all the more impressive, because the look on 14 was that of a guy losing it and realizing it and trying his best to keep it together. Two-way misses will do that. But that drive on 15 is the stuff that champions are made of. It's the chutzpah that you want and hope that you would have in that moment that we all dream of having. He's been able to forge a mentality and a toughness that is the envy of the game right now. But I do wonder, now that he is, or at least has revealed to some degree, that he too can be vulnerable. I mean, look, when you put together bogey, and a guy's making a charge and you're leaking oil, it speaks the world of you, volumes about you, that you could hit that drive on 15 the way that you did, but it also shows you can be had. And prior to that, he didn't look like a guy that could be had. We had already coordinated. This was over. This was done.
Yeah. Well, I think I largely agree with you. But if you look at a situation like on 72 at Shinnecock, and he hits a wayward second shot from the fairway,
to the left,
it's freaking awful. And you're like, oh my God.
That revealed
he's got to get up and down from
and he did.
That. I mean, it was a decent place to miss, but it's still
it was the right place to miss. Yeah.
Wild miss. He does have those moments, and he doesn't always have his A game, but I think what he's going to draw on from this week, and he said it over and over, this is the most satisfying win of all 4 of my majors, and it's not even close.
Because he got put to the test, and that course is hard.
That course was hard. I mean, they turned it up to 12. It was, Tiger-proof plus then some.
Yeah, they went
because it proved Tiger on Thursday and Friday.
I didn't like the course, but yeah.
I was surprised that the PGA made it that challenging. But, okay, it's that difficult, and he knows he doesn't have his best stuff. And
on Sunday he didn't, but he certainly had his very best stuff on Thursday.
He did on Thursday. I think Friday might be the most impressive round if you ask him, just because of what he had.
Yeah.
Because Thursday he could have shot 61. He could have shot 60 without. I mean, he parred the 2 par 5s.
Yeah, so it's 63. Interesting. On Thursday, Tiger even said it. He thought Brooks got a little bit cheated out there. He could have had a better score, and he still finished with 63. 65 is about the best he could have done given his problems on Friday.
The mileage he got out of that round. And then, it was a gutty 70. Jordan really didn't do anything to inspire. That was a very bland feeling round.
Aim for the middle of the fairways and do what Tiger did all the time. Right. Make him come get you.
I just think, what I look back on are 2 things. Number one is you're entering the weekend. Of course, it didn't end up this way, but he had a larger lead after 36 holes than Tiger did in 2000 at Pebble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just think about that for a second. On that course, as hard as that course was, that is freakish. That is otherworldly.
I wanted him at that point. You were right to point it out, but unfortunately, it doesn't sour. I mean, he's won another major. It's unbelievable, but it would have been cool. The fact that the field, or about 5 people, got back into contention there is disappointing, because that could have been one of those all-time great dominating major performances. Turns out it's not.
But consider that, no matter how you want to roll it out there, he can win anywhere. This isn't about a bomber who is benefiting from an era in which all courses are longer. Of course, this might be an example of that. But
his game translates across the board because he's won in different ways.
Right. He's gone super low to go get the job done. One of his PGAs and Aaron Hills for the U.S. Open. Then you look at the 2 on Long Island, both Shinnecock and this course, and how difficult those 2 wins were for him. And then you go look at Augusta this year. He's a couple of putts away from being in a playoff or outright beating Tiger. Now, of course, he doesn't. I'm not trying to take that away from Tiger, but he's right there in that conversation. And Augusta is a very different proposition than any other of the courses he's played. So Pebble is going to be different as well. It's only around 7,000, 7,100, but they're going to tighten the fairways. Anywhere you play it, any way you play it, he can win. This isn't about a specialist anymore. This is about a true superstar.
2 things to note that stand out to me. First of all, if we look at the other aspects of the tournament, the second biggest moment, or I guess result to take with you, perhaps Jordan Spieth is back. We don't like to say it. We're not big fans. But he finished in a tie for 3rd at 2 under. It's the first time Spieth has finished in the top 20 this year. And he picks up his first top 10 since last year's British Open. But he looked more in command of his game, more importantly. And to play as well as he did on that course, which is not suited for him, it was very Jordan Spieth circa 2015, 2014. The putts made there were the kind of putts he used to make on the regular.
Everything about his presence tells you exactly how he feels. I mean, whereas Brooks, you can't get a read.
Right.
Jordan, you understand before he even hits the shot. I mean, the way he stands over the ball, you know how he's feeling on a given day.
That's why it was amazing, by the way, as an aside. You and I were texting back and forth during the final back 9. I think it's not shocking, but I was shocked. On 14, to see Brooks's face, when I text you, he shook. I had never seen it. But that's a testament to what a badass he is. I'd never seen that look on his face. But then when you see it, you know it. It's that Jameis look that day against Cleveland.
God.
Yeah. No, but Brooks' look.
Brooks responded differently,
well,
which was good.
But the Brooks yank left there after pushing right on the previous hole.
Yeah.
That look of, well, what?
When
so
when he hits that,
here?
we're watching on the couch, and I said, Jamie, well, okay, he's got a par 3 coming up, so he can lie about what's going on. I didn't know he'd nuke it with an 8, which is crazy. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's a little unlucky that the wind comes down. It's adrenaline plus the wind coming down. That has to be what that is.
He nuked the hell out of it.
Because he hit, I mean, that was like the 4-iron he hit. Maybe it went as far as the 4-iron he hit to win the PGA last year. But he was totally befuddled by that shot. But after that tee shot on 13, I said, all right, so 15 is where he doesn't know where the ball's going. That's the most important shot between now and the end of the round, because if you're a two-way miss and you've got a wind up 20, 25 miles an hour sustained, gusts over 30, I mean, we just did that at Southwood a month and a half ago, man.
Yeah,
I was a mess.
It's
and this is the U.S. Open at Bethpage.
Yeah, and he muscled up, figured it out. Luckily, they were running out of holes. I think he would admit that, but it worked out well because he is mentally tough. And I don't know how one responds in that situation to that. If I had seen the ball go that far left after I had just pushed it right way, and the winds are doing what they're doing, and that other guy who I know is a badass, Dustin Johnson, is making putts, and at that point you're in a little bit of trouble. I don't know how he steps to 15 and does what he does. It's remarkable. That's just trusting the process, my friend.
15 and 16.
That's just trusting. Well, once he hit 15, I said he'll hit 16. Oh, you just needed to see it again.
18 was a bit of a yank. I don't know if that's because of Varner going 50 yards to the right or not.
Congratulations, Seminole softball, man. My favorite thing that happened this weekend is Brooks Koepka. My next favorite thing that happened is back-to-back home runs at nearly a fifth. And this program is so good and so consistent. And now, you get you have freshmen contributing now. Mackenzie Herzog with the big hit. It's so cool to see.
Two of them,
yeah,
really.
Yeah, and so that's cool. And I'm excited about what will happen against Oklahoma State because here we go.
Yeah, Tim Linnefelt wrote a good piece on Mackenzie on Seminoles.com. You should check it out because it talks about how obviously she can pitch, which she did in this weekend's regional. She went 3 for 9 with 8 RBI. But if you go back to the Florida game earlier this season against a former player of the year, she has a big hit. This is a young player who might become a household name for Florida State softball in the near future. But
hit a grand slam over the weekend.
Well, and that thing was crushed. Yeah. I mean, good God, right off the bat. But I just want to commend Megan King and Lonnie Alameda and everybody yesterday for dealing with that strike zone with grace. Even when Lonnie was asked on the broadcast about it, she said it's a good, tight strike zone. You understood the message.
Yeah.
But she handled it as best she could, and you could even tell, a couple of the mound visits, she was cracking jokes about how freaking awful the strike zone was because it kept the players loose. But to take King out when you did, and then Megan comes in and closes it, way to stay composed, ladies. Outstanding.
It is outstanding. But again, I hope moving forward against Oklahoma City, Oklahoma State. I'm thinking of basketball. Sorry.
Russell Westbrook is not in that dugout.
Oklahoma State, and then hopefully on to the College World Series again. If it happens, I want it to be a tight strike zone because we hit bombs. And if we know where it's going to be, we hit bombs left and right. And what I mean is this is a team with a lot of big bats.
Well, you're also thinking of the World Series because it could be Oklahoma State to Oklahoma City.
That's correct. Of course, that's what I was thinking, Tom. You did.
Yes.
Yeah,
I knew it all along.
There it is. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Artie's delicious breakfast favorites, and in our 2 for $4 mix and match. Try a bowl today. They're actually really useful. Artie's because it tastes better.
Available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Shot side, Rivas scores!
The playoffs are here. The Corner Pocket is your home all spring long for all the heart-pounding moments in the NBA and Stanley Cup playoffs.
It's held in a shot, safe, Rivas!
Pocket on Appalachia Parkway next to Earth Fair is your headquarters for FSU and Major League Baseball. Trivia Tuesdays, Beer Bingo Thursdays, and of course, all the moments you'll never forget.
For the championship!
The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
I give to you easy laundry service from my friends at Wash Around the Clock. Oh, buddy, this is a game changer. If you're like me, your life is hectic. Between work, school, your kids' sporting events and activities, well, it leaves you precious little time to kick back and take a load off. About the last thing you want to do is hours of laundry, but there it sits, staring at you, taunting. No more. That's right. More watching, less washing. Save hours of valuable time when you sign up not doing laundry with easy laundry service from Wash Around the Clock. Whether it's dry cleaning or just plain laundry, Wash Around the Clock's easy laundry service will pick up and deliver at your home or office. So sign up for free today at easylaundry.net, or you can give them a call, 850-597-9007. Again, sign up today at easylaundry.net. Oh, and by the way, I got you. Use promo code JCS20 and save 20%. That's promo code JCS20. You're saving 20% on your first order. That's easylaundry.net from Wash Around the Clock.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Want your office to shine like never before? The New Century Cleaning Services is your next call. New Century Cleaning Services is celebrating 20 years in Tallahassee, partnering with businesses big and small, from universities and banks to doctors' offices and radio stations. New Century Cleaning Service is licensed, insured, and all employees are bonded. They clean 1 million square feet of commercial space per day and feature carpet treatments, floor waxing, and general office cleanup. Plus, they can supply you with paper products, soaps, and sanitizers too. To help your office step into the 21st century, call New Century Cleaning today at 894-6226 or visit newcenturycleaning.com. That's newcenturycleaning.com.
Hendrick. It's the Hendrick Memorial Day sales event all month long at Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC. Celebrate with savings like the 2019 GMC Acadia 3-row SUV up to $10,000 off MSRP, or the stylish 2019 GMC Terrain up to $8,000 off. We are professional grade. See us on Capitol Circle Northeast under the giant American flag, or visit DaleJuniorGMC.com. Not all vehicles will qualify for maximum discount. Must finance with GM Financial plus tax, title, license, dealer installed options, and dealer admin charge. See dealer for details.
You're locked in with the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Two items of intrigue here, just because I like to float these nuggets out in the summer months. 176 million copies. It's the 10th anniversary of the video game Minecraft. My kids still love it. And its owner, Microsoft, announced that the game across all platforms has sold 176 million copies. That could make it the best-selling video game of all time. The only problem is no one can agree on how many copies exactly Tetris ever sold. This was near and dear to our heart, Tom. That's why I brought this up. Estimates range from 170 million to 425 million, depending on who's counting and which versions they include. In any case, people love Tetris, but this is the most popular game since Tetris. Minecraft, 176 million copies sold. And should be noted, both Tetris and Minecraft are the good-for-you video games, the games that do challenge your brain in a way that is healthy as opposed to just blowing stuff up. So there you go.
Tetris was the thing that made the Game Boy the monster that it was.
The only reason to have a Game Boy. The singular reason to have it.
I played other games in the Game Boy, and they were fun, but everybody had Tetris.
Tetrisian.
That's right. One who packs the trunk of their car with perfect efficiency.
My wife. Nobody better. Never seen somebody so efficient We could pack our entire house into the back seat of the car if she was in charge of it. It's unbelievable.
You should have seen. So a few weeks back, it must have been late April, I guess. I don't know. I was playing in a golf tournament, and I was with one we played in.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also had packed, along with my clubs, because it was a straight shot, golf tournament, dinner, baseball, and over at with the
Hauser,
Animals.
yeah.
So I got the lawn chairs, I got the golf clubs, I got the cooler, I got everything laid out perfectly efficient in that trunk so that all day long I could, from one to the next, go from one activity to the next.
Did you use the word tetresian the way you should?
Oh,
I mean,
of
it's an
course.
opportunity to bring it out. You made the word up.
When somebody makes the word, they must use the
You
word.
got to use the word. I agree with you. Mm-hmm. I use tetresian, and I always cite you. I say, well, it's time to try to work on our tetresian skills here, boys. Let's see what we get. And then they look at me, and they'll say, that's not a word, and I'll say, it's not. But it should be. Tom Lang made it up. It has to do with Tetris.
You ever played Tetris? You don't know nothing about no Tetris.
I'll whoop your ass in Tetris is what I tell them. But I say that about a lot of things. Basketball, running, anything. The universe may have just gotten quite a bit younger. Detailed analysis of cosmic radiations has placed it at somewhere between 13.8 billion years old, 14.2 billion years old. But new research in the Astrophysical Journal pegs it between 12.5 billion years old to 13 billion years old. The discrepancy suggests there's something in the cosmological model that we're just not understanding, said one team leader, Nobel laureate Adam Rees. So, in essence, this story is about the fact that the universe just got 1 billion years younger in one fell swoop. That's rather remarkable.
Very close to several thousand years old. We're getting there. We are closing the gap. Closing the gap.
That made me laugh. That's good. Man. And then I just thought this was cool. Robert F. Smith is a tech billionaire. You may have seen this over the weekend. Announced in his commencement speech that he will eliminate all of the student debt at Morehouse College class of 2019. He spoke at the commencement and then informed all of them they no longer had debt related to loans they took out to attend Morehouse College. That gift is estimated to cost him, got a guess?
Oh, God. $16 million. I don't know.
Here's what's distressing. It's all, on the one hand, uplifting and beautiful that a person would do such a thing, and that's cool, and he'll never miss the money because he's a billionaire. But two, there's no way that it should cost this much to go to college, period. Different subject for a different time. He's paying off that debt to the tune of $40 million.
I didn't know the enrollment. If you said it, I didn't hear it.
It's Morehouse College. It's not that big a school. What are we doing here?
You still evaluating punter position at all?
Or? Yeah, we are. Guys, if it was a different, I would put somebody else in there.
You got anybody? I knew you had.
You got any problems at home? That's what I'd ask somebody. Everybody got debt. Everybody got things going on in their life. Why don't you just go erase it?
You got anybody new out there to look at?
That guy could erase it. He did for a lot of kids just now. But if it was a different, it's still my favorite part of that quote. If it was a different.
You still evaluating punter position at all? Or?
Yeah, we are. Guys, if it was a different, I would put somebody else in there.
You got anybody? I knew you had.
You got any problems at home? That's what I'd ask somebody. Everybody got debt. Everybody got things going on in their life. Why don't you just go erase it?
You got anybody new out there to look at?
He's just like, we're done. Gene, how many ways can I tell you that we can't do anything about our sorry-ass punter? That's been we've talked a lot today about Florida State and what's going to happen and what the expectations are for this season more than anything else, and questions that I get asked when I do other shows, and kind of the way that Florida State football is viewed currently. And look, it's not favorably. We know that. But that is one thing that if we're just going to talk about baby steps and walking before we run and all that, can we have a season in which the special teams play is pretty solid? I'm not asking for spectacular. I don't want to look at the list and the mini inside the numbers sort of revelations that tell you you're the best or the worst. I'll deal with whatever, but good God, man. We've been so bad on special teams for so long. Give me a season where we win 8 games and are good on special teams. I might choke up a little bit.
Maybe we should start a campaign. Doesn't everybody start a campaign for everything now?
Yeah, well, GoFundMe.
Be it the uniforms or the logo.
Can we do a GoFundMe for our special teams?
White numbers. We could have a guy. His name is Special T. He wears a Knowles jersey, and it's the letter T on the Knowles jersey. And all he does is he gets up and he goes nuts for special teams plays. That's it. Come on, no flags. Let's do it.
I would go crazy. I mean, I used to start the 307 chant back in the day. Aspire to be average was a mantra I created for our defense that was so bad at the end of the Mickey Andrews era, who was such a brilliant coach for so long. It just broke my heart to watch that. We should start something for this year for special teams because it really does eat at me. It just gnaws away at the ability to enjoy a football game. It's so bad. It's incomprehensibly bad. I mean, there have been multiple times where I thought, how is that possible? Why are you continuing to take the ball out? We could get it at the 25. Stop doing that.
Okay, so do we have different chants for different special teams play? Do you just chant special teams every single time a special teams play happens?
Here's how we're going to work this out. We have the entire summer, folks. You can work with us on this. It'll be great. Maybe we even start holding up signs and stuff. But if on a kickoff we return it past the 20, that's it, past the 20.
That's still negative.
I know.
Yeah, okay.
If we return it past the 20, baby steps, Tom, past the 20 and or do not commit a penalty. Either one of those results on a kickoff. Also, if you just decide to fair catch it and get it at the 25.
Well, that's an automatic, like everybody does the wave or something.
Right. So those three things, if any one of those three things happen with a kick return, we come up with a cheer for that. Like the whole stadium could be like, I know that's kind of a Bronx cheer, but it's something along those lines. You got to do something. Yeah, but the in the know crowd from the Jeff Cameron show, maybe we just, if you're wearing a hat, you just take it off and you hold, you just doff the cap to the team and put it back on. So you're not mocking them
Everybody
audibly.
Does a T, special T.
No, that's for a return that gets to the 50 or more.
Okay.
We can now here's what we're working with. So you just doff the cap. If you're watching on YouTube, here you go. So to the 20 or further, no penalty. We're just off in the cap.
So it's an and situation. Got to clarify this. You said and,
yeah.
Because if we return it 5 yards deep, take it to the 7-yard line, but there are no flags, that's still worthy of it.
That's
okay.
negative.
It's an and, not an and/or situation.
That's correct.
Okay.
So here you go. There's the doffing of the cap for anything that gets to the 20 or further.
This is awesome.
We all just off the cap. Now, if you do something electrifying, like return it past the 50 and there's no penalty, none of this counts if there's a penalty, okay?
Yeah.
So if you return it past the 50 and there's no penalty, now we all stand in unison and we make the T.
The special T.
The special T. And it'll be cool because not everybody that attends Florida State football games listens to the Jeff Cameron Show. It's a bit tragic that that's the case, but it's true. Some sometimes forget what they heard on the Jeff Cameron Show. But we can pass this along to everybody that will be attending in the fall. If we cross the 50, no penalty on the special teams, we stand up, we form a T, special T. How about that? We're doing it. So now for the creme de la creme, if you return a kick for a touchdown, there is no penalty, obviously. You have actually completed the act of returning the kick for a score. What do we do? What do we do?
We may have to vote on this one. I don't know. Because it has to be responsible yet completely ridiculous.
I wish there was a horn of some sort, like a Viking horn or something, but we need to do something. Maybe even the air raid sound. I don't know. Something. Like maybe I could get the in-stadium production group to do something, maybe join with us.
Get the crank air raid thing going.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? We could get it going.
Well, what about a fair catch that gets us the ball at 25? Is that just,
Just a golf clap.
It's a golf clap. Okay.
That's the knowing nod. That's there you
well
go.
Done.
That's well done. Way to go. You dumbasses didn't screw it up. Way to go.
So is this only for kick returns? What about punts? What about coverage?
No, we don't do anything for coverage. I don't feel like that's been the worst or anything.
How about net 40 for a punt?
No, we're making it too complicated. This is just about
punter's been a problem for years.
Yeah, but this is just more about kick returns.
Kick returns. Okay.
Kick returns.
Well, you know what? I think maybe our friends over at Madison Social can help us too, because we can make a T-shirt.
We could.
And it just says special on it.
And the back of a giant T?
Well, it's the special T. It's the special T-shirt.
So the shirt just says special. Mm-hmm. All right. Matt, you're listening. We'll start promoting. We just get a shirt that says special, which is funny in and of itself. A garnet and gold special.
If you support special teams, you wear the special T.
Well, if you're hoping for change on special teams, if you'd like to see a new future, a brighter future, a more progressive future for special teams here in Tallahassee, you get the shirt that says special.
And then somebody's got to make a jersey that has the T instead of a number on it, and that person shall
Sits
henceforth
at the end of the road?
Or the middle of the crowd of the special teams section. And
well, what I think would be incredible is only one T exists, right? So all the rest of the crowd that's wearing it, that's in on it, we're wearing a shirt that says special.
Mm-hmm.
And that person, maybe it's designated to a different man each game.
Yeah.
Or woman, sorry. And the point is we don't know where they're necessarily going to be sitting, but here's how it works. If by chance that return that gets past the 50, no flag, we all stand up and form the T. As we sit down a few seconds after having formed the T, the person with the T on the shirt stands upright.
Oh.
Just the one. And we'd all be on a mass search. Where's the T? Where's the T? Susan's wearing the T. She's on the 30. She would stand with great pride. And then we'd be back to the game. I like it. It's not too convoluted. I think we could pull it off. The shirt itself would be awesome. Special.
The simpler the better.
Just special. I love it.
Yo, you better give me that money.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Through month end. So listen up. Before you buy an Acura RDX or Lexus NX, you need to look at the 2019 Infiniti QX50 with 1.9% interest for 72 months and $1,750 cash rebate. You get both. Or lease the QX50 for only $395 per month with just $29.50 due at signing. At Craft Infiniti, our third row 7-passenger 2019 QX60 started at an unbelievable $39,500. Our flagship Q70 full-size sedans are all $10,000 off MSRP. And all 2019 QX80s have 0% interest for 72 months. That's free money for 6 years. Plus, at Infiniti Tallahassee, all new Infinitis and most pre-owns come with our exclusive and free lifetime warranty, good for unlimited time and unlimited miles. And through month end, all trade-ins are an additional $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book. Infiniti at Tallahassee, 3355 Capitol Circle Northeast, next to Ted's Montana Grill. Interest rates and payments with approved credit.
Yuengling Golden Pilsner, a highly sessionable beer, golden in both name and color. Yuengling Golden Pilsner is the perfect balance of hop and malt character for crisp and smooth thirst-quenching refreshment. Cheer for your garnet and gold with Yuengling Golden Pilsner. Yuengling, brewing good times for 190 years. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Triangle Sales. Wahoo Seafood Grill, Tallahassee's leader in fresh seafood, is located right behind the Best Western on North Monroe. Lunch specials start at $7.99. Be sure to try their award-winning house-made burger. Big lunch parties are also welcome. Wahoo Seafood Grill makes lunch specials a very affordable choice. Delivery is available and plenty of parking. Wahoo Seafood Grill, easy access from any part of town using I-10. Visit them online at wahooseafoodgrill.com or call them today at 850-629-4059.
At Indeed, we understand that when it comes to hiring, it's important to have a large talent pool to choose from. But sometimes too many good options can be overwhelming. That's why Indeed doesn't just give you access to a large pool of job seekers. We also offer screener tools that let you instantly narrow down your search. Hone in on hiring with Indeed. Experience Indeed for yourself today and get a free sponsored job upgrade on your first posting at Indeed.com/promo. Terms and conditions apply.
This morning you were in a rush and accidentally shaved too much. You bushwhacked your facial hair. Kinda looks like you were mauled by a bear. Now in the mirror you see a mutton chop hybrid goatee. It's who you are now. When your morning is hell, just go to Taco Bell.
And try the $1 grilled breakfast burrito with fluffy eggs and crispy bacon wrapped in a warm tortilla. Only at Taco Bell. At participating stores for limited time during breakfast hours. Prices may vary. Tax extra.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Man Cave Monday, brought to you by Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Right on the corner and always right on the price. Check out the latest 2019 inventory at TallahasseeDCJ.com today.
Tonight, I don't know, man. I don't know that I'm going to stay up until the wee hours of the morning to watch Golden State complete the sweep of Portland. What a disappointing series, but we kind of predicted it. It didn't feel
right.
I thought Portland was going to have to win one of the first two at Golden State to give themselves a chance, and then obviously they've had no answer for a team that is, I think, in some ways feeling freed without Kevin Durant on the floor. Now, I'm not going to go as far as some people have as to say or suggest that they're playing better than they do when they have Kevin Durant out there. I think that's silly. But they are free to play the way they played before he got there, which was a captivating style and a lot of fun to watch, and they seem to be enjoying it, and Portland's not good enough. That's the other thing. It's real easy to fall into the, hey, listen, they're better without Kevin Durant mode because they're playing Portland. They're not playing Houston. And so that's why it looks so easy. Portland's not ready. Portland's done what they were supposed to do. They've gotten to the Western Conference Finals. It's a huge step in the evolution of that program, of that franchise. Unfortunate for them, they're nowhere in the same stratosphere as Golden State.
No, not, and especially when it comes to closing. I mean, they had, obviously, Golden State dead to rights a couple of times if you're a Portland fan. Mm-hmm. But it's just the experience factor, and obviously if Steph needs to hit a shot, he's going to hit a shot these days.
Well, they're all playing so well, and they've taken turns. You know, that's been the big thing here. I've noticed is that. And
you listen to their quotes, pregame, postgame, they sound a little bit different. They sound. You're absolutely right. Like there's a block taken out of their mind. Now they can just go out and work instead of worrying about quotas.
Yeah, it's interesting. Draymond played as well as he could possibly play in that last game. It was crazy to watch. But they've all taken turns at various points, dominating long stretches at a time. And what I think is fascinating now is it's like they're playing with the knowledge that this is it, that this is going to be the last of the runs that they make and win a championship as currently constructed. First of all, Kevin Durant's going to leave. Klay Thompson might if he doesn't get max money. So he's gone. And, Golden State will be a good team. They've got players that they will keep in play, including Steph, obviously, for some time. But this is the last of a dynastic run, and so I think they're playing that way. They talk about wanting to sweep.
I wonder if it's not them trying to audition and say, keep us together. Let KD walk, and let's run this back the next couple of years. financially it's viable.
If they can do it, they'll have to make some. Yeah, I got to go look at those numbers. That gets convoluted, but yeah, I mean they're really good.
I think you can keep everybody together. Now, I'm not an NBA capologist, so I might be dead wrong about this, but I think if KD walks, you have the slotting available to do what you need to do.
Well, what's Cousins' contract? And then
I think he was only 1 year. That was a trial run.
So I don't know. Iguodala, they could lose Iguodala.
Yeah, you might lose some role players, but you could keep Clay, Draymond, and Steph together, essentially. Which,
if ego doesn't get in the way, because Clay's going to want his money. Draymond always wants his money, and he thinks he's the best of the three, which he's not. Steph's already got his money. So, yeah, it's going to be – I'd have to look at that too. There are plenty of capologists out there, like you said, that will have that information. Right now, just enjoy the sweep. I'm not staying up for that tonight. I'll watch baseball instead. I've loved the NBA so far this postseason. I am captivated by the double overtime game last night. Enjoyed Toronto and Milwaukee. That's a fun series. I think it will continue to be a fun series. I hope it goes 7 for the sake of intrigue. Neither one of those teams are going to beat Golden State, so enjoy that series because I think the finals is going to be a nightmare.
I think tonight's going to be something else other than sports for me. I'm going to be honest, because when you watch a major championship, and
it's an investment. It's an all-day affair.
It sure is.
Yeah.
And plus, the softball game yesterday bled right into Brooks' tea time, so you're going all Knowles all the time from noon till whatever that was, like 7 o'clock.
Yeah, yesterday was a kickback, sort of a park your ass Sunday, if you will, because of the softball, because you had obviously Brooks at the PGA Championship, and there was day baseball being played too, Major League style, and I love that. My Pirates were going to take the series in San Diego as they did, and we're 4 games over 500 right now. We're a fun, lovable team. Come on board, everybody. Come on, we're a fun team. We in an impossible division. There we are. Just keep it on, keep it on.
Of the tens of thousands of people listening to this fine program, if you get 6 of them, you've done your job.
I'm trying. Let's do some probables. Let's tell you about these baseball games tonight.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
A's, Indians, Brett Anderson going for Oakland. Carlos Carrasco going to go for Cleveland. We've got the Yankees and the Orioles. J.A. Happ. Andrew Kashner. Nationals and Mets. What the hell is going on in New York, Tom Lang? What a nightmare. The Marlins, the impotent Marlins, take down the Mets. The Mets now a full 5 games under 500. Their players are being asked about their head coach, their manager, if you will. Mickey Callaway probably about to be fired any day now. Don't know that that's going to make a difference. Might.
He was already incompetent in dealing with high leverage situations in the National League. He's an AL guy, but that doesn't. This is a separate thing. They're quitting on him, but he already sucked. So we've got all kinds of issues.
As usually is the case, management. Ownership, management.
If you read the Rosenthal piece in The Athletic today, yes, it's the same bleeping old.
My God. Nationals will throw Patrick Corbin, the Mets, to be determined on a lot of levels.
So I'm in New York for the July 4th holiday, and I was going to go to 2 games. I may just go to 1 now.
Just the one?
I may just go to the 1.
You got to go to 2 if you get a chance. It's more about the experience stuff. Don't go expecting wins. Just go expecting to have fun.
If I buy the secondary market, I'll feel better than going directly to the box office.
I like that. Phillies and the Cubs. Come on, Phillies. We got to slow this Cubs train down. My goodness. Jake Arrieta will pitch against his old team. Hopefully he's juicing again. Yu Darvish throwing for the Cubs. Yu's not been very good. It's your night, Philadelphia. Mariners, Rangers, Mike Leake, Mike Minor. Hello, Mikes.
Is Bryce Harper hitting 230 yet?
He hit 2 home runs yesterday.
Oh, there you go.
White Sox, back-to-back games with a home run is what I should say. White Sox are 21-24. They haven't decided which bum they're going to roll out there tonight. The Astros will throw Brad Peacock. Braves, Giants, Mike Soroka and Andrew Suarez. We got the Twins and the Angels, Jake Odorizzi and Taylor Cole. Taylor Cole sounds like a baseball player.
Kind of sounds like the opening act for Kenny Chesney.
Taylor Cole? Yeah. Welcome, Raleigh-Durham's own Taylor Cole to the stage, everybody. Taylor Cole.
How y'all doing tonight?
Good to be here. What an honor. Play in front of Kenny Chesney. D-backs, Padres, Luke Weaver. Weaver on the season, 3-0 on the road with an ERA under 1. Luke freaking Weaver is throwing it down.
Shove.
Good on you, Luke. Chris Paddock will throw for the Padres, who are still stinging from taking a beating by the Pirates. Just thought I'd mention it. And that's a look at those that shot out of the bump.
We're drifting in out.
That matchup, that aforementioned Weaver-Paddock matchup, is a really good one because Luke has been a road warrior, as I said, 3-0 with an 0.98. But Chris Paddock, that poor bastard, is 3-2 with a 1.99. I mean, people are hitting 145 against him this year.
That dude has got braggadocio for days. He, if San Diego starts to amount to something, which, I mean, their prospect pool suggests they will, he's going to be the lightning rod for that team. Remember that name.
I don't know. Tatis and some of the others aren't afraid to talk. Manny Machado.
This guy is a motor mouth.
Well, then they'll fit in nice together, right? All of them. Well, exhale, everybody. A little baseball tonight. Ease into bed with the basketball. We'll get up and do it again tomorrow. And then we start in with the tournament, with the ACC tournament tomorrow as we go and etch our way over towards the softball. And let's go.
A little Thursday super regional action.
Yeah, I like it. I'll be taking a little time this week, Wednesday and Friday, but maybe on Thursday. We'll see. I'm going to a graduation in Atlanta. Wish me luck driving to Atlanta.
You know, to stay away from the 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then about 3:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m.
Now, I'll leave here at butt o'clock and get there around 11
there you go.
Something. And, yeah, that's just, I should be good to go. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. Be well, everybody. Enjoy the ESPN programming that comes up next.